you right now. Okay, the women's start will be at 9 o'clock. I would like the women that are seated to line up in the front row in the order that you read on the seating list this morning. The second row of women, please line up in the second row. Would all men please remove their skis from the start line? That includes Herman Chalupsky. If you want to start
Well, the warmest of greetings to surf ski aficionados all over the world. Welcome to Durban. Welcome to the final day's racing at the Ocean Racing World Championships for 2025. That's the scene that greets us down at DUC, which is right alongside the mouth of Durban Harbour on the eastern seaboard of South Africa, on what promises to be an absolute thriller of a day in which all of the single ski titles are going to be decided. Yesterday was double ski day, in pretty dramatic conditions between DUC heading south down to Manzimtoti. Today, we're heading north. My name's Dave McLeod. It's my pleasure to be able to be bringing it to you once again. And with me in the other commentary seat, morning, and has he recovered from yesterday? Travis Wilkinson. How are you feeling, Trav?
Dave, I'm feeling great. Thank you very much. Coming from a slightly overcast day today. It has been drizzling as well. Here in Durban. Yes, I've recovered. It's tiring talking for 2 hours, but not as tiring as the athletes, and especially those that had to have an extra swim at the end of yesterday. They'll be very pleased with what they see at DUC this morning, Dave. When the ocean greeted them yesterday, they had, incredible amount of whitewater, foam, froth, bumps, everything in front of them. If the camera goes out soon, we're going to see a benign lake light. There we go. Flat,
Far more
no
typical
surf,
of DUC.
nothing to challenge them getting off the line. And unfortunately, not as much wind as the people would have liked out at the sea. But I think they're still going to have the prevailing southwesterly wind behind them, pushing them up the coast.
Travis, we didn't stay live on the live stream to sort of catch up with the tail end of the field. There was drama galore when we were watching the leaders coming in. We saw that bronze medal decided by a swim in the back line. By the end of the day, I did hear stories that there were, a lot of swimmers. The rescue crew was kept extremely busy, and the inevitable casualties and broken skis. So you were down at ground zero. It must have been fairly dramatic at the end of the day as people came home to DUC to lick their wounds.
Yes, Dave, it certainly was. I think the combination of tired arms and big surf is never good. The guys were getting pounded by that ocean down there at Toti. A number of swimmers, unfortunately, a number of craft also succumbed to the power of the waves. There was quite a bit of polystyrene on the beach that people were picking up afterwards. Our race director, Colin Simpkins, befell that unfortunate event, and he had Colin Wilson, one of the title sponsors, owner of the company that's sponsoring from Eurosteel, and the two of them unfortunately damaged their boat. It was in a couple of pieces, and they trudged over the line looking a little bit forlorn, a lot less excited than they were when they left the beach. That shouldn't be the case today. I think even at Westbrook, which can be tricky, it's going to be a lot easier than it could be. Paddlers are still going to need to be awake. They're still going to need to keep their wits about them when they come in at Westbrook. But luckily, sorry, I was about to say unfortunate, but certainly not unfortunately. Luckily for them, the ocean is going to be a lot kinder today on the Durban coastline.
Travis, it's a debate we're going to have today. In terms of the conditions, if you could roll out the absolutely ideal conditions, one, to be a test of surf ski skills, but two, to be able to be within the manageable reach of athletes from every corner of the world. And we've got over 30 countries represented here. I mean, down on the beach this morning, we've got over 515 skis that have been entered for this. There's a sense of the scale of what we're talking about. It is a monstrous field. Sort of thing you don't see down at your average Friday or weekend down here at DUC, and it is a thrilling carnival festival of everything that is good about surf ski racing. And what a race we're expecting at the moment. It promises to be a really balanced contest where those that have got the real skills for downwind are going to have a degree of advantage, but at the same time there are a lot of other names that are going to come into play. I think we're in for a cracker today, and the overcast conditions are going to make it comfortable. I believe there might be some rain or some drizzle on the horizon on the forecast. I see a few brollies out on the beach, so that may be a factor. Yes, no?
Dave, I think you've summed it up really well. It is going to be nice and cool. I see the ladies' boats are starting to move down because the ladies are starting first. So just commenting on the ladies moving, probably putting their boats on a different line. They're lined up behind one. They're now moving their boats down again. The conditions are going to give those paddlers who are not as comfortable in the big sea, the type of sea we had yesterday, which you really need to have a lot of experience in. Today it's going to be a lot milder, so even those with more flat water skills are going to be able to have a little bit more of an advantage than they would have. At least they're more of an equal playing field to the pure surf ski paddlers. But at the same time, that wave riding, which we are going to see today, where the paddlers group together and try and benefit off the slipstream of others, it is going to be available. But if you don't understand the sea and you aren't reading the sea accurately, it's going to take you a lot of effort. If those surf ski purists are catching even the smallest runs and getting a bit of benefit from those small runs, the other paddlers will be trying desperately hard to keep up with them and using a lot of energy to keep intervaling and to keep sprinting, to keep in touch. So there is an advantage still for those people that are pure surf ski paddlers. They would have liked more wind, they would have liked more ocean chop and a lot more swell, but at the same time they'll still hold a few aces up their sleeves over the pure flat water paddlers. But importantly, the point you made, this does make it accessible to so many more people. Those that train mainly, say, for example, on the Mediterranean, who aren't used to large surf conditions, this is more what they'll be used to. They'll be more comfortable in this, and it really does allow for everyone to have a fantastic day out on the ocean.
Travis, on the start line at the moment, the women, and what a race this is going to be. I am so looking forward to this. Let's run an eye over this over the moment, because we've got world champions galore in this field here. Kira Bester comes into this race having been an under-23 world champion. We know what she can do. Danielle Richards from New Zealand, who really has been one of the trailblazers for women's surf ski racing, world champion 2019 and again in 2022. D Mac, as many people still know her. She's going to be right up there. Michelle Byrne is going to be in here as a defending seniors women world champion. She was a world champion again in 2021. You're going to have to factor in Melanie van Niekerk, who was racing yesterday, and this is another subject we'll touch on. She raced yesterday. Melanie van Niekerk was second in Madeira, deciding the world champs last year. Judith Vargas, who we also saw racing yesterday. There's the Michael House Jazz Band and some scenes from the opening ceremony. Great sense of camaraderie and brotherhood amongst this community. Over 30 countries represented. There's the Hong Kong team. I got a note this morning saying the team from Japan is watching this from the land of the rising sun, and they have committed to being at the world champs next year. So we certainly look forward to having the Japanese here. Morning to the Swedish. Welcome to the people that are watching this on the online stream. Just to remember, you can drop in any comments, any questions, and we will do our level best to either give you an informed comment on it or at least take on board what you've got to say. Forza Italia! Great scenes in the opening ceremony. Durban extending its hospitality. They went down to Ushaka Marine World, which is right adjacent to our race base here at DUC. The French influence of Réunion. And the hospitality has been remarkable. It's been paddlers enjoying a week here. A week ago, we had the Durban Umhlanga Pirates, which is the oldest surf ski race in the world. That's a fact. That was raced a week ago, and there was a great turnout of internationals that took part in that. And next weekend, there are a lot of athletes that are staying on to travel down the coast to the Eastern Cape, to the border region around East London, where there's another great festival of surf ski racing going to be happening there. So the women's race, as Travis quite rightly pointed out, is going to be taking off first. Team GB, they've had a great time in Durban. Scoop, making lots of friends. Big representation out of Team GB. Team USA being represented there. Anna Swetish not on the start line. Since we were talking about the women's race, Anna Swetish, who's been one of the real trailblazers when it's come to the top of the podium, not taking part this year. Other commitments, got a lot of study commitments. So Anna will be back, you can be sure of that. And then that South African team, there's Nix Burkett, and there are medalists galore coming into that shot. There was our champion from yesterday, Saskia Hockley. Marvelous day with Matt Finn, opening it with a gold for the home team, which went down really well. And
Dave,
then,
you missed Greg Barton, the Olympian, that was coming past there.
Well, that, everybody, is the sound of Oscar Chalupsky. So Big O is joining our commentary team. Greg Barton from the USA. Yeah, also somebody who's been an Olympian in his own right and a man who has played such an influence in the evolution of surf ski over the years. But Oscar Chalupsky, good to have you in the hot seat. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Dave. It's fantastic hearing you. Must be a little bit chilly there in Canada. It's not too bad, yeah? We're shorts and T-shirt and great conditions, yeah. Fantastic.
Well, marvelous to have you here. And Oscar will be chatting along with Travis about what's going to be happening on the water. The drama of yesterday, I'm sure you will have caught up from all the highlights that were flighted on social media and on the websites and the channels all around the world. It's going to be much easier today, and it should be a thriller of a race. The good news for those that watched the stream yesterday, it's definitely going to help our team out there who are flying boats, who are flying drones, and doing their level best to get you the sort of coverage we can. Oh, it's good to have you here, and it's you must be looking forward to it. You must be enjoying the sense of brotherhood and camaraderie, which the surf ski community is all about.
Yeah, I mean, understand that this is basically the home of long distance surf ski paddling. It was probably founded between Paul Chalupsky, my father, and Tony Scott, and then in East London, John Woods. And as I say, I've been involved in this sport since I was about 8 years old in this Durban beach. So it's fantastic to see the growth of the sport, which is something that takes a few people, and those people are on the line there. As I say, my father's 88, so he's probably the oldest paddler by 10 years doing it. And I think that's the thing, the camaraderie in this sport, and it keeps on going. It just grows and grows and grows. Nice and slowly, it didn't do the sup through the roof and then back down again. It's just slowly, and there's so many people. I saw a guy called Terry Fox. I haven't seen him for 20 years, and he was a paddler. These guys are even older than me, 20 years older than me, and it's lovely to see the old guys still here, and lots of young people and a lot of internationals. I mean, apparently we've got 30 countries, and I think that's testament to see that this sport can be done anywhere, everywhere around the world, and it can only grow bigger and better with the coverage that we're doing now through Planet Canoe and the ICF, and I think that's the way to grow the sport, and I'm really proud to being, I think, maybe the father of the modern day surf skis, let's put it that way, but I'm not old enough to claim it, but I think that's what the sport, and as you see them lining up there, it's fantastic conditions. I've been out there. It's going to be Yellow Buoy 1 kilometer offshore, heading towards the buildings at Umhlanga Rocks, a buoy 300 meters off Umhlanga Rocks, and then straight down. You don't have to do anything after that. You go past some Schlote, and then the next sort of outcrop is Westbrook Beach. And today, unlike yesterday, it's a southwesterly blowing, which means that there'll be definitive breaks in between waves, so you can get in without breaking. Because I just heard on the beach there that they lost about 20 or 30 boats in half. Right, so that's not going to happen today.
So the women are going to be called down to the start line to get the racing underway today. Oscar, you were part of one of the races which way back in the day in about 2008, 2009, South Africa Stage 2, which we very cheekily called World Cups, but they were the forerunners of international competition in surf ski racing. And you were right at the sharp end of the race that also finished at Westbrook. And I think you're going to be able to bring out some of the knowledge and your memories of how that worked. I seem to remember you were arm wrestling with the likes of Matt Bowman and Clint Lighty Pretorius, and it was all about lines and currents and whether you went deep or whether you went in close and how you staged that final charge into the finish at Umfloti, down at Westbrook. So we'll look forward to banking some of those memories a little bit later. But for the moment, let's keep our eyes on the beach, because under starters orders is this women's field, and who is going to be heading out to the frontier. It is a 34-kilometer pull today. So here's a map. We're starting in Durban. Yesterday we went south, so we went out around the harbor. Now we're going north. The race course is a straight one. It's 34 kilometers between Durban and Westbrook. As Oscar quite rightly pointed out, it is going to be defined by two key turn cans. There are boys off Umhlanga, and there's a boy that they're going to turn once they've headed out to sea from our race base here at DUC. That's another topic of debate, because there are paddlers that would possibly opt for a long, deep line. And I know Oscar is one of those who'd love to go deep in his day. But it's going to be a condensed field. It's a safety decision, but it is going to make a really compelling spectacle as the women come under starters orders. I'm going to get my co-commentators to nail their colors to the mast right now. Travis, who are you giving this to?
My money's on Kira. I've seen the way she's paddled recently, and I really think she is one to watch. It'll be very difficult to beat her, but at the same time, it's such a quality field. She'll have to be on her absolute best to get to the beach first today.
Oscar, give me yours.
Oscar, who do you
Yeah,
think?
you see, the thing is, yeah. So I think it's a bigger field than you really think. I mean, it's a long way as well. So somebody like Daniel McKenzie now, she's Daniel, I can't remember, Richards, I think.
Daniel Richards,
changed her name, and she's really good. And then even the Spanish girls are quite good. Yeah, Daniel Richards, and she's very good. So and again, you must never write out Jenna. Jenna Nisbet is doing it as well.
Yeah, she
and
raced
Michelle
yesterday,
Byrne.
so I think she should be
Michelle
there.
Byrne should be there as well. You see, because these conditions, although they look very tame now, when you get out there, it's going to be quite big. It's actually going to be bigger than people expect, because that's the funny thing about the start here at DUC. The wind's completely sheltered. So only when you hit that 1 kilometer buoy at the Yellow Buoy do you suddenly realize, oh, there's proper wind. And the line is to go a little bit wider of Schlanger Rocks.
What a spectacle down at DUC, as the beach hosts over 500 paddlers. Almost all of them are in singles. The race is allowing people who want to just get involved in this final day of racing to do it in doubles, but they'll be right at the back of the field, and they're all, with respect, social paddlers. But the eye is now all on this elite women's field. Nerves are jangling because there is now so much prestige at stake to being this women's world champion. Is there anybody who's going to be able to take this away from our reigning world champion, Michelle Byrne? Second, Melanie van Niekerk, she raced yesterday. Is she going to be able to pull another podium finish out of it?
Neil, please tell me when you're finished counting.
I think the guys that did that race yesterday, it was a tough call for the organizers. I can tell you right now, doing a 34-kilometer race a day before this, and yesterday was tough. I mean, when you're doing downwind runs, although I love them the most, and you can rest if you're good, a lot of people would have taken a lot of strain. So it's going to be tough on the girls, because if they raced yesterday and they're racing today, they're going to feel it. Believe me, you're going to feel it. I don't care how good they are, you're going to feel it. So the strategy's got to be to make sure that you conserve and be with the front runners, and then everything happens basically, I'd say, halfway between Schlanger and Umfloti and the end. That's when it's going to all happen. I mean, because I think the conditions are pretty good for you to actually cover each other, because that's the secret in downwind paddling, is to cover the opposition. This is not about trying to break the records. Those are the days when I was young and stupid. All I used to try and win by a long way. But here, you want to cover the opposition. You want to win this race. The way to win this race is to cover all your competitors and don't just go your own line. Watch the competitors, because that's a very important part, downwind paddling, because you don't know. Remember, your competitors are the people, your GPS in another place. You've got to watch them all the time, because there can be little channels and little runs, little currents that you won't see. So if you're too far away and suddenly they're going away from you, that is a problem. You want to try and be with your competitors. You must be able to be aware of all your competitors. It's very important to winning a race. To getting records, that's a different thing. But winning races, you've got to be aware of the thing. And that's a great sight of seeing how many people are lined up. This is the biggest field ever for World Championships, and it's fantastic. As I say, I've done the one from Toti to DUC, and I've done this paddle. I must be into the thousands or the 2000s. These. This is my standard paddle when the West blew. From here, either to Salt Rock or anything. Yeah, so love it.
Glorious sight. We're just minutes away now from the
Oscar,
from the
what
start
would
of
your
the
line
women's
have
race.
been today? I suppose you've now got the...
Georgia Singer, one of the
Yeah, so
athletes who was on that list.
if there was no boys or anything like that, I would.
Let's focus on the start line now as the women prepare to get underway. Also included on that start list a few seconds ago is Georgia Singer, who's a junior champion from Madeira, now stepping up to race in the open ranks as an under 23. The main race, of course, is an open one. It's not a senior race, so somebody from the age groups can definitely fight their way onto that overall podium. And there's an opportunity for some of the talent in this field, both the women's field and the men's field, to do precisely that. This huge crowd gathered on the banks here at DUC now in rapt attention as the contenders for the Women's World Championship medals prepare to get their race underway. They're under starters' orders. You'll hear the hooter being sound by the starter.
It's good to see all the sponsors, because without sponsors,
it's almost go time here at DUC. Athletes all behind the back of their skis. And they're off. There they go. The women's singles field heads out into a much calmer looking ocean.
yeah, this is going to be very interesting. You'll see that when they're paddling out, it's very smooth, and then it's going to be actually, I think, bigger than yesterday, and they don't realize this yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how big the swell is. But I estimated it because I came back from Schlongerokstedt this morning, and it's blowing about 15 to 20 knots, which is pretty powerful in the west, and also the west swell. It'll be a nice west swell, so you have to be strong and fast. You can see they're not hitting the race that hard, because you're not going to make any time up going super fast off the start and then being tired when the runs really count. But you can see it's beautiful and flat, but as you get around that yellow buoy, these groups will always gather, because that's how you're going to save energy. There's Daniel McKenzie in front, and that's, I think, is that next to, it looks like one of the Spanish girls. Who's that?
Might be Kira Bester in that black
Kira
boat, I think. Yeah.
So Daniel's obviously pretty fit. She was the national sprint coach for New Zealand, and she's been playing a long time. And she crossed over from Ironman to sprint racing, and you can see the quality. This is where you can see the quality of the flat water paddlers, which is important, because you need speed to catch the run. So if you're good on flat water, you just got to convert and spend time in the ocean to get better. So there they go out, and it's great to see such a big women's field. It's always disappointing sometimes to see that the girls aren't up there, but now this is a fantastic amount of girls at the World Championships. It's probably one of the most I've ever seen in my life, which is fantastic to see. So they're working together just like a normal K1 race. So this is like a marathon race, and you can see the little chop coming from the left-hand side, which they'll pick up once they turn on that yellow buoy.
It's lovely to see them all getting into formation here, all riding the slipstreams on their way out. as Oscar was saying earlier, so important to cover your opposition, make sure you're in range, make sure you're in sight. But again, this part here is about getting yourself into a nice smooth stroke rate, not blowing all your gas out on the way out to the buoy. It's not a sprint. There's no hotspot prizes for the can. It's just a case of getting out there, getting past that southern breakwater, because that southern breakwater is the one that's protecting this area now from the swell. As soon as they get deep enough, they'll start seeing that swell come across from their right-hand side as they're turning, and then hopefully it'll start pushing them across and getting that lovely downwind down one of Oscar's favorite routes up the coast, as we call it, going north.
If you look closely, you can see the swells coming from the right already. So there is some good swell, and it's great footage. I mean, this is the best. The last time I commentated in Portugal, I had no visuals, so this is magnificent. And we've got to thank Greg Kitter, ICF CANOE, for putting this on, and hopefully the people that are racing now can watch later on and learn, you know, because that's how you learn. You learn from other people. You can see the swells pushing in there from the right-hand side. Should take them about 5 minutes 20 to get to that yellow buoy, maybe 5:30, and then the action will start. The men start in about 12 minutes time. That's also going to be this. You'll see the same format there. Everybody in a line, trying to conserve energy. My whole strategy in a race was to get behind the first or second guys. Never did I take off. I was going behind the Corey Hills and the Matt Bowmans and the Hank McGregors that are much faster, and then you try and save as much energy at the start as possible, because you know you're going to need it at the end.
Oscar, it's a
And
good
Travis,
question.
you've done a few of these things, and what is your favorite distance?
So I was asking my favorite on
Which way to go?
I've always enjoyed the southerlies. I find it a much cleaner wave. The northeast is exciting, but it's unpredictable. So you know sometimes you're getting trough. But if you get a good, decent southwesterly blowing, the sets seem to line up cleaner. So you can link them that much smoother. Yeah, it makes it that much more. It's easier to ride. But at the same time, if you know what you're doing, you can milk so much more out of it. The northeast tends to be a bit of a lottery. If you're in the right place at the right time, you'll get a run. But a southwest, if it really it benefits your skills. If you're able to link the runs together, I've always found a southwest was better for me.
Yeah, I mean it is. But the funniest thing about the southwest is that a lot of people struggle because they all brace on the left-hand side, and on the southwest you have to brace on the right-hand side. So it's very important. So a lot of people struggle with the southwesterly because everybody's right feather paddled. So their preferred brace side is on the left. So it makes it much easier or harder for the people with right feather paddles. And that's always been an interesting thing. That's why I was pretty fast. That's why I braced on both sides, and everybody should. As you can see, as they're getting into the wind, the packs will start splitting up. But you want to be on somebody's slipstream as long as possible to save as much energy for when the real stuff comes later on.
That's really interesting, Oscar. I actually have a right feather paddle, but I've always only been able to brace on my right-hand side.
Yeah, you're one of the.
So it actually it does. I don't know,
That's why you like the
that.
southwest. You wouldn't. I know people that can't do a southwest paddle because they can't brace on the right-hand side, because basically when you're catching a run, you do, especially today, you're going to be turning right and bracing right, and we'll see through this time, through our coverage, that a lot of people, the right feather paddles, will be bracing on the left-hand side and trying to turn right. So those are the few little nuances that you learn along the way, and the things that you should be practicing. But now you've got to see. There's the front group, I think. Now there it is there. So Daniel McKenzie, now she's not pulling. Now she's just riding in the slips. No, that's not Daniel. So we're going through the field. They're doing the right thing, you know. You can see the lumps. I remember in TV, that makes it much, much smaller. It doesn't half. In the background, you can see our fantastic rugby stadium and our stadium, Mozambique Stadium, fantastic out there. Let's see if that's the front. Now I can see some waves, so there's more people in front going through the field. Hard to spot exactly who's there. But again, everybody's trying to stay comfortable now. You don't want to push yourself. But you can see there's runs and we should see them putting down their paddles. The top people by now, normally I'm trying to put my paddles down. That's the most important thing when you're doing. You can see the swell there, Travis, pushing along straight towards Schlonger.
Schlonger
You
in
can
the
see
distance.
so now the good paddlers, the really good guys, I'd already be starting to catching these runs and then surfing them right, catching them and then surfing them right. They're not doing that. I can see the runs. I'd be by now. There you see. You've seen our first person there jumping on a run, and you'll see the difference it makes. The most important thing about catching these runs, they are going left, they're going into shore, and you want to make sure that you come back around. So you catch it going left, and you surf it right, and then try and link up another one. So that's the whole beauty of it.
I think it's so important that you mentioned that, Oscar. I assume from the pictures we've seen, we haven't seen them go around the can yet.
I think they must have been.
They must have gone around the can, because you can start seeing how.
You can see. Look at the runs.
Yeah, there you go. The runs are coming, as Oscar was saying. And it's so important, Oscar, when you're talking about turning and going with the waves, and I'd like to talk to you definitely today about the use of a rudder as opposed to just leaning your boat.
Yeah.
But so importantly, as that wave's coming, it's coming from your right-hand side, so it's naturally going to push you back into the bay. And you don't want to get trapped in the bay. You want to keep angling out. But you use the energy of that wave as you catch it, and once the energy, you've harnessed that energy, then you're sliding back out to the right again. You're moving back out to always keep yourself away from getting stuck in that vortex of the sort of hole in the bay there.
Yeah, so we're 8 minutes 43 seconds in, and you can see that the whole pack is split up completely now, because now you've got to use and utilize the waves, and there's the seniors start looking ready to go. But you see that how fast and how quickly they split up once the breakwater that you see in the southern breakwater is gone. Then you've got to be surfing, putting your paddles down. That's the most important thing about downwind paddling, is to be resting when you can rest. It's a big power, 3 or 4 strokes, and then resting and surfing right. And the best guys do it by surfing right and without even paddling, getting it back in there. So it's 5 minutes to start to the senior start. Fantastic to see all the paddlers from all over the world. I bumped into many of them out there. And the seniors races, I've got my money on a lot of people, because you've got the Gordon Harbrock, so this is going to suit his power paddling. And then you've got our South Africans. You've got Uli Hart, who's going well. Nick Naughton, I think he's going to be a good dark horse. You've got the old guys. Hanks, he's not out of this race. Corey Hill's another young up-and-coming guy. Nick Naughton, as I said before, he just came and at the World Marathon Champs came, I think, 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
Which is quite
incredible talent.
And he was just there on holiday, so he's put in the work. You know, this race is not easy. Believe me, 34 kilometers is a tough, long distance, and you have to be going at 100% all the time once you're in those runs. Your resting time comes when you're putting your paddles down, and that's the secret between the best paddlers in the world. And then there we have Corey Gordon up there from Germany. Spent a lot of time with him. Corey, Hank, Nick, Kenny, Pierre Varela, a young French guy, raced against him very fast. Walter Bazan, also these conditions suit him. Matt Fenn, very good. Uli Hart, Oscar Jones is very strong. He's had some great results in Australia. He's now in Perth, so the Perth runs are a little bit smaller and than the Durban runs. The Durban runs are proper ocean swells, which means that you get some high speeds, but you have to have high power also to get on them. So, yeah, I'd pick those are my guys I would pick out there, and that order, whether Hank can beat Nick, that's going to be close. Whether Hank can beat Kenny, but that's how I see them finishing, funny enough. And then Oscar Jones might be up there. Again, Walter did the race yesterday, which is going to affect them. I don't care. I mean, they were coming third, and they swam for about 3 or 4 minutes. It didn't come. And Uli did the paddle. He didn't do the paddle. So a lot of people are concentrating on this race, which is the most important race. I mean, yes, the mixed doubles is fantastic to do, but it was tough for the organizer. I think they did the right thing by having the race yesterday. It showed what the conditions can be like in Durban.
Yeah,
So-
Matt and Walter paddled yesterday. Matt obviously winning it.
Yes.
But you could see in the footage yesterday, Matt was going full out the entire time. So for him to carry and pick that up, he may have the adrenaline left over for today, but the body's going to be tired. And Oscar, this distance now at 34 Ks is slightly longer than the normal world champs we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
So those younger, strong, fast guys might have a slight disadvantage. I'm looking at your Hanks and Corries who've got the Molokai pedigree behind them for that little extra distance. Is that going to play a part, do you think?
No, you see, the problem is with downwind, as I say, I love it so much, I couldn't care if it's 50 kilometers, because if you do proper downwind, you can go forever. So it's not a big factor, especially today. The wind looks absolutely perfect. The organizers, Colin Simpkins, must be very happy, and their whole team, because you couldn't have wished for better. I mean, when they're coming in, they're not going to get destroyed, and it's going to be far more manageable, and I think we'll get some really good footage. So, I mean, Daniel Jacobs, we're seeing those top guys here. And again, you'll see youngsters. I mean, the guy that I don't see on the list, and I can tell you right now, he's pretty good, is Bernardo Pereira from Portugal, who I taught when I was living in Portugal for the last 10 years. He's going to be up there. He's very strong. He lives on the island of Madeira. And they're going to be good, So there's a lot of dark horses out there. And the young French guys, they're all getting better, And that's what happens in life. You need some competition. The reason why Herman and I did so well, because I had Herman chasing me and I was chasing him, and that's what happens, and that's what's happening in this sport, So I'm very excited to see. Obviously, you've got Matt Bowman. I mean, you can't write him off. He's been training the house down, and he always does. So he's got a small chance. You never know, because this race is going to come down to the last 5-6 kilometers from Schlote to Westbrook, and coming into Westbrook, you've got to be quite sharp there to get the right wave and get up that beach and finish. But this is fantastic. We should have 2 minutes to go to the start, and it's going to be very interesting to watch. And got to thank all the speedboats out there. I know SMG Yamaha are actually covering a lot of the boats, and that's an important part for us to see. There we see a few of the
Matt
top
Kutzer,
boats.
under 23. That's
under
another one
23.
coming through. Got some really hot shot
Yeah,
under
hot shot.
23s coming through. It's
We need to
quite
add
an
in the
open
likes
race.
of
The
Josh
guys have
Fenn
been
as well,
seeded
and Mark
today,
Keeling.
and a bit of a draw from the ICF. So the international guys that are competing have been seeded, so they'll all know who they'll be lined up next to their competition. Everyone will be in view there. We should be getting very, very close to the start. So the guys
Yeah,
are.
and there we got. I mean, it's fantastic to see it coming like Sean Fasters all the way from Australia sponsoring a race in South Africa. That's fantastic to see. You get a guy like Earl Evans, who's backing a sport, and he's backing a sport because he loves it, and that's what life's about. If you love the sport, put something back, and that's what I've got all these things. I see Hank's catching up, 47, so he's getting a bit old in the tooth there, like me, So, but you can never say. Age and downwind is not a big thing, So as long as you've got the skill factor is the most important factor in downwind. We should be going in any few seconds. I mean, just seeing here our race list.
That's fantastic.
Let's have a look at the whole race list here.
Anyone is seconding Jen Award or is driving?
And Dave Sersky Paddling, funny enough, is actually quite big in Canada as well.
It is, and it's growing. It's a country that's obsessed with canoe sport. Generally, canoe is very big here. Kayaking is growing, and surf ski, particularly where we are on the west coast, where the conditions are favorable.
Yeah.
Vancouver's got a great vibe going. Where we live down on Vancouver Island, we've got a great little surf ski community going. And it's part of that global surf ski virality. It's just catching on. It's a relatively novice-y downwind community, but the passion is definitely there.
Your boat, as Colin asked.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time up there, and a race of 120 people in that Vancouver deep cove. It's fantastic to see, and
That's it.
I've been traveling around the world spreading the word, and it's actually working. So it just takes a few people to make things happen, and then you need organization like we got here. That's a fantastic view of the start. I mean, that is out of this world, and it's good that it's back in the home of long distance surf ski paddling.
Oh, it is fantastic to see, Oscar. I mean, would you have ever envisaged this? You did so much in going around the world, as you said, teaching, training, marketing surf ski as a discipline. I don't think anyone has done more than you, going around and really finding new places to bring the word of surf ski sport. And to see this must be really gratifying for all the effort you've put in.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've always aspired to and try to push and promote. And I've done it all over the world, and it's good to see. And let me tell you, it's only going to get bigger and better. It has to, because everything's evolving. We're learning how to do starts. We're learning having the right venues. We're learning with the organisers, and I think. Yes, it takes hard work, but somebody's got to do it, and I've enjoyed the travel. I've enjoyed getting people into, and this is a different sport to any other sport in the world. And everybody, you can walk up to Corey Hill, he'll say hello, so the camaraderie and the fun, and I think they must be very close to the starts.
It has been delayed slightly. There must be a reason. We're not aware of it, but there was a big accident on one of the main feeder roads coming down from Westville. So I don't know if they've delayed the start slightly to get one or two athletes through that traffic. I hope everyone's safe and made it on time and ready to go. But gee, I've never seen footage like that. Just to see so many boats spread across the beach, so many high quality athletes all brought together. It's an incredible view and such a beautiful place to launch. And so incredibly different from yesterday. Yesterday it was just white water and mush all over the place. Today it's nice and calm, and the paddlers are going to get a fantastic start today.
Yeah, so the big thing about this is that, and this is the difference between our sport and most, is you find that 70% of the paddlers are older than 30. So it's a sport thing you do forever. And I know I mentioned my dad, he's at 88, he's doing it. And so you can do it for your life, so as long as you're around. So hopefully I can stick to that, stay around.
Absolutely. We certainly need you to. As do you see, I think I mentioned yesterday, it's the home of a group of really dedicated paddlers called the Geriatskis, really because of the age, and they're an incredible bunch of guys. They're there day in, day out. They form the backbone of the organising committee for this. We're using their clubhouse. Guys put in just timeless effort and have supported not only this race, but development groups in South Africa. They've supported them. They've got the Siapampile guys who they help out with craft, and have really built that club up to bring out some wonderful youngsters who've joined from disadvantaged backgrounds to surf ski paddling. So heads up to all the Geriatskis. They've done an incredible job. And just look at that beach. It is absolutely full. The excitement must be almost palatable there. Oscar, did you enjoy starts? How did you control your nerves at a
there's
start?
Paul Murray is an old paddler, and there's Walter Bazan from things. So the big thing about, the most important part of this race is your preparation. So when I got to the start, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I'm going to go out with the fast guys and conserve as much as possible. And then 95% of the time, I used to go my own line because I knew it better than most people. I've done this, as I say, probably more than most in the world. And then they used to follow me. Then I used to always, as I said, look where my opposition was. Watched where, if their lines were looking better, half a kilometre out or that. So that's the most important thing, is to actually make sure you know where all your opposition. Paul Murray, I don't know, Colomba from Spain as well. These Spanish guys are all growing. I mean, they're Spanish World Spanish Championships. They have over 1,200 entries.
Gee,
I've been to them.
That's a huge number. I couldn't believe it. Huh?
Yes, and even in the Portuguese, I got there, same thing. Grew that sport a lot, and in the Portuguese races we were getting 150, 200 people, up to 300.
That is so good to hear, because I mean, when you first went over to Portugal, it was still relatively unknown.
Unknown, yeah, and then they were still paddling kayaks that you sat in the ocean. There was a famous race, paddle around Madeira, and most of them were in sea kayaks, which is strange and dangerous as well. So I said, hey, this is not the way to do it. So it's been fun. I mean, all the races I've sort of been part of with Mauritius. Perfect. Yeah.
The coil springs, you can relax. When you see the orange flag up, then you can
Okay, we should be getting a few shots from the ladies. You'll see the field would have been spread out. I'm just trying to see where I can see them. Okay.
But for now, it's all eyes on this men's
We're still
field.
waiting for
This
the men's
huge
start.
field
They're
of
still
elite.
looking very relaxed. They're behind their boats and talking. So obviously there has been a delay. Unfortunately, we haven't been told exactly what that delay is. But we will no doubt be getting information soon. As I say that, I see some of the men starting to look a little bit more focused, as if they might be getting a
Here we are on the
start.
right
Here
hand
we go.
side. As I saw, Danielle McKenzie looks like she's leading. I said she'd be pretty good. I mean, she comes from Danielle McKenzie, yeah, Danielle Richards now. Yeah, she's doing very well. You can see that. I can't see any other thing. How do we get that thing off our screen? Is it a touch screen? It says 150 seconds to power off. Press any key. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, we've got something in front of our screen. Hopefully we'll get that sorted out soon.
Yes,
Yes,
it is Danielle. I've already called it.
So she's going there.
And the men's field is underway.
Oh, and
There
the
we
men
go.
are
Yeah,
off.
the men are off.
Men are off. There they go. This is a great start. This is where the nerves are jangling. You've got to get into your boat cleanly. Some people panic and then they jump in their boat and go straight out the other side. It shouldn't happen to any of the top paddlers. They're off clean and they'll be heading out to that can. And looking for, as Oscar said, who's going to do the hard work? You don't really want to be that person out in front doing all the hard work. There's no reason, there's no reward for sprinting, but someone is getting a really good break there.
There's always, it's just like marathon running. You've always got the guy that's trying to get the TV coverage and off they go. And I can't quite see who that is, but that's probably Oscar Jones is one of the fastest guys off the start normally. And so it could be him. Just got to see, as you see, just like in the women's race, everybody's trying to get on runs and try and get on a little wave to help them get to the yellow boys so they don't use too much energy. There's so much, it looks flat, but let me tell you, with a big group of paddlers like that, it is bumpy. Yeah, Gordon Harborough, Corey, we're missing the Portuguese Bernardo Pereira, finished 5th last time, so he should be up there. Yeah, and I think Oscar Jones up there, Uli. It's going to be a very, very tight race. And as you can see, they're going out speed. Again, you can't tell how rough it is with all those boats and all the speed boats. I mean, it's actually quite a rough start out there. But you can see they're all grouping together. I don't see them going too far out. So that ship, maybe they waited for that ship a little bit. There you see Gordon Harborough in 2nd, and in front that's Oscar Jones, then Gordon Harborough, and then is that on that fin? I've got a funny thing in my screen that I can't see. But you can see they're all trying to line up. You can see compared to the women that these guys are already starting to get into the runs. And there's our screen gone off. So
Okay, we've got a problem on our side. Dave, can you pick it up on your side? Oh, no, we're done on the small screen
on
here.
the school scene, we're just going to try and see how to get the big screen going.
Oscar's big finger prodding at the screen in the studio so I can fill the
Get our
gaps. For the
techies, yeah,
meantime,
we
it's
can't see
Gordon-
any. We can only,
It's Gordon Harbrocht who is leading the field as they leave DUC and head out into the deeper waters. Starting to see more of that swell picking up behind them. Mark Keeling made a very good start in the beginning, keeping himself in contention, and the pace is slowly starting to pick up. Move to come up ahead of Harbrocht on his outside. Corey Hill was a 3-time world champion. He's going to be a
I
huge
think
figure in this.
he's just behind there. He's trying to. Yeah. So you see, you can see how soon the men get on to the runs. I mean, they're already on the runs. And I told you, there's Bernard Pereira third. He's not the top guy. He's going to be up there, believe you me. He's pretty good. He had a good teacher, somebody told me. So the Portuguese guy is very strong. Comes from Madeira Island. So that's, yeah, so I think that's Oscar Jones, Gordon Harbrecht, Bernard Pereira, Bernardo Pereira, and then next there is Mark Keeling, just behind. And you can see they're already milking the runs. You see, even if they're paddling, the secret about when you're paddling is that you're only paddling at 80%, even though you look like you're paddling, you're hardly paddling. You can see you're trying to bring your heart rate down. You're watching your heart rate a lot in this. It's very important. So you can see the three. They're marking each other now, and these three will hang in, and then you'll find another group just behind, watching where they're going. You see, that's what's happening. That's what I'd be doing, watching it. You don't want to kill yourself. You can use the slipstream from each boat, helps a little bit, but it doesn't help as much as the big rolling swell that's coming in all the time. Yeah, so I'm getting just close to the screens, so I can see more. Yeah, so this, as I said, it looks much flatter than it actually is, and that's what the TV does to it. And there is the front runner. Yes, there is on the right-hand side of your screen. That's Danielle Richards. She's winning the women's. And again, she's going. It's a big call to go off so soon. I mean, she's been going for 30 minutes. So I suspect this race is going to take about 2 hours, just under 2 hours, maybe 1:45 for the men and about 2 hours for the women. So she's doing the good hard yards, and I think it's good. And then you can see the field and the men's on the left. It's really good coverage. Well done to Greg Cutter and his team, and we're running it all over from all around the world. It's fantastic to see. And Daniel's looking very comfortable. You see, she's not putting her paddles down, but she's actually, like now, she's actually not paddling. She's just going through the motions. And now when you see her putting her back into it, she's going to link up another run. That's the secret of it. There's the yellow boy on the men's side. And now I've got the screen here. So you can see how nice it is. Let me tell you, this is really good. She's going to be starting to put her paddles down. Me, I spend my life putting my paddles down. That's the one thing I want to try and do, is make sure that I'm conserving a bit. She's conserving, but she hasn't put her paddle down. I'm a bit different. I put my paddle down much earlier than most. She's looking relaxed. You can see her hands are very relaxed. That's very important in downwind paddling, because the more wind there is, the more people hold their hands tighter, and the worse it is. So there we go again, Gordon, and that's Oscar Jones. Yeah, they're going very hard. I mean, they've pumped up, and third is Bernardo. Bernardo in third place, also a very powerful paddler. So again, it's also how you feel at the start, Travis. What happens is that sometimes you go through patches, and like if you're feeling really good in the start, you see Bernardo's going left, which is not right. At this stage, you want to stay out because you want to be surfing down into Schlanger Rocks. But you can see they're nearly ready to put their paddles down. They just haven't got it quite right yet, you know.
Oscar, I can imagine you at this time being quite happily sitting behind people doing this, watching them.
Yes,
You know,
I always was one of those. I just watched to see where the runs are taking them, although I know a lot more. So you see, so there's Gordon. You see how he jumped up, he got a run there, and he's just paddling easy. You paddle easy, and you just go through the movements, and don't pull hard. You know, so you light hands, moving through there, and that's what he's doing. And you see, they've got good runs already. I mean, this is going to be really good. I mean, the back marker's going to love it as well, you know.
Yeah. They're in front of your old clubhouse for
Yeah,
Durban Surf
Durban
there.
Surf there, the background, yeah.
You would have swum around and out of that pier many times.
Many times.
Yeah. Yeah, there comes another paddler coming in from the side with the epic
That-
ski there.
I think that's Mark Keeling. No, that's still Oscar Jones. See,
Okay.
So Gordon got a run, and this is what's happened. That's why it's so difficult. Is that it goes forward and back and forward and back. You never know. That's why it makes it so exciting. That you never know. You never know who's winning, because you get one big run. I mean, I've had some runs where I've gone 500 meters and an average speed of 23 kilometers an hour, so you know how far you get ahead, and then you've just got to bide your time. That's the secret here. The secret here for these guys is not to chase Gordon and try and force the pace. You must let a run come towards you so that you catch up, because you're using the swell. That's the secret. Keep on using the swell and don't push away. You can see they're going fast. There is good waves here. Let me tell you, this is going to be a really exciting race. And Gordon's putting the hammer down as I thought he would, because it's flatter towards the start, and it's going to only get better towards the end. The waves will get better. You see these little waves here coming off the boat. It's probably one of those SMG boats, and you can see the field spread out a lot. But again, you don't rout off the guys that far back. I used to try and stay in the top 20-ish. There we see Bernardo there. See, they're working their way out. Some of the guys are going too far in.
And you
There's
can get
Oscar
caught
Jones.
if you go in too early.
No, you must
Yeah,
never. You must
never.
always finish going with the race.
Yes.
So try and move out. Always be moving out when you're fresh. You move out like they're doing, like Gordon's doing now. We're going past. There's basically Durban surf there. You want to be pushing out and then moving in. Just giving us thumbs up there as well. There's no feedback from the people watching.
Back to the ladies, yeah.
Back to the ladies. Who is that?
That must be
I
one of the
do-
internationals, I would say.
Yeah,
but I'm not
international.
battling to read it there. But looking
guy.
very, very smooth, going past the river mouth there.
Yeah, and we'll be looking Gordon on the left-hand screen, on the right-hand side, both NK. It's a brand out of Sweden, and yeah, Gordon's put down the hammer because it's a flatter part of the race. It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you go along. But they're not putting their paddles down, which is surprising for me. By now, I actually purposely do it. I actually purposely put my paddle down, because then people say, "Oh, I'm still paddling," and Oscar's stopped paddling. You see, like now, I would be stopped paddling, because that I think is the important thing about here, is to conserve now. You want to be out there, you want to be in front, but you've got to conserve, because this race is 30. As I say, I think it's going to take about 1 hour 45 minutes, and you can see. He's relaxing, but they don't put the paddle. I like to, if I've got an opportunity, I put the paddle down, even if it's for 1 or 2 strokes. Take the power off.
And I can attest to that. I think it definitely wasn't a race, because you wouldn't have been coming past me in a race. You would have been way in front of me. But I can attest to you coming past me on what I thought was an absolutely flat, calm sea. And you did purposely come past me with your paddle down in a run. I didn't know how you'd found the run, but you found a run. But exactly what you were saying. You were definitely giving me a signal. I've got my paddle down and I'm still going past you.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You want to. I'm trying to see that name there. I don't need glasses. I'm just trying to think. It's hard to see who that is.
Just getting some word
maybe
from the
boat
people
can
watching
tell
on the
us.
stream
Yeah,
here,
there we
Oscar
go, it's
and
coming
Trav.
there.
Oh, that's Rosie Edwards,
That's
isn't it?
Rosie
Rosie
Edwards.
Edwards from England.
Rosie Edwards,
She's come a long
yes.
way. She's
Fantastic.
doing very well. I think she's just behind her. She's very young as well and good up and coming. And it's great to see in England. Got
Spends a
Ivan
lot
Lawler.
of time out
Yeah.
here in South Africa.
Yes.
Spends a lot of time with Our Lady paddlers. So,
Yeah.
and I think when she's out here, does stay on that sort of Umshloti type side. So this
Yeah.
is almost could be a sort of, from a South African point of view, her home ground advantage. She's done
Yeah.
this section a lot, and she really is looking good as she paddles along there.
Yeah, again, it amazes me. To me, I can see a lot of runs there. And yeah, Rosie Edwards, she's under 23. And Kira Bester is also under 23.
Yeah, still there.
Yeah, so
Paddling
it's
fast.
going to be a tough race. You can see how big the swell is. And again, she's not putting her paddles down, but she's resting. You see, that's the secret. She's resting and not putting her paddles down, where I would be putting my paddles down. And then on the left, we see Oscar Jones. As I said, he's a very fast starter, and I thought so. And Gordon's probably a little bit ahead. Gordon likes to go out hard, put the pressure on the guys, and then Rosie's doing a good job there. She's on a little run. So, you know, I would have put my paddles down even for one. There's Gordon coming past the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Fantastic. Lovely cool conditions as well. You know, it gets fairly hot here in Durban this time of the year, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like 20 degrees.
That'll definitely be an advantage to our visitors, especially coming in from Europe and stuff.
Yeah.
They won't be used to that humidity of Durban, that very hot weather that will energy sapping. Fine to start with, but after 10, 15, 20 Ks in the normal Durban heat, if I can say normal with the humidity up, it definitely drains a lot of your energy. Oscar, what are they looking for in a run? What are you looking for? So you're sitting in your boat, these conditions, ocean coming from the side. They're obviously not looking back to find a wave. They're having to look forward. What are you seeing in front of your boat that's going to tell you a wave's coming? Or is it just feel?
No, there's three things you've got to look at. The number one thing you've got to look at is to make sure where you're going, because that determines what run you catch. Because these runs are going left, but you've got to actually, so you have to preempt it. You've got to go left and make sure that run comes back to where you want to go. The most important thing you've got to watch all the time is where you're going, because it's so easy to go downhill and then be off the line, you know. So this is the part where some people go too far in. You don't want to go too far out, but being in and then going out, that is the biggest mistake. And what happens is all the runs are running onto the beach. So you've got to always sort of anticipate going down the run to make sure you can turn back onto your line or above your line. I used to always go above my line. I used to keep all my opposition on the left-hand side of me on this race. So I knew at any time I wanted to, I could just surf down. You'll see, as we get into this race, like Oscar Jones is higher here, you'll see he's on a run, he's nearly putting his paddle down. He'll catch up Gordon in one run. But you've got to keep your opposition all on the left-hand side, but not too far left that you go off your course. But you know that when you come in, you see Oscar Jones being a bit right, it's easy to surf back onto Gordon Harbrocht.
This is one of the things I love about this
I also
global
find that
community.
when
Oscar,
that
Travis,
wave comes under your boat.
I'm going to jump in here very quickly because the community that's following this on the stream has just picked up something really interesting, and it just reinforces the point that it's so difficult to often identify athletes. Particularly, we had a field day yesterday with the waves, but that NK boat at the front could well be the boat of Pierre Verrier of France, and not Gordon Harbrecht. So let's wait for a good close-up shot to make sure we've got 100% of the athletes. There's a fair consensus of opinion online that Pierre is actually the guy in that NK boat who's sitting up at the front. So looking forward to a good close-up shot. Maybe our camera boat can edge a little bit closer so we can get absolute confirmation of who's in there. Long distance shots of the field as they're moving down towards.
Dave, will you come in and give us your bit there? Sorry, we've cut you out a bit there, Dave. Take it away.
Not at all, and I'm following the global community that is having a ball today, particularly with, just to sort of zoom back yesterday, we effectively had one boat with effective comms. We've got a whole bunch of views here, so we can keep tabs of the women's and the men's races. That NK boat that's sitting at the front there, we assumed
Dave, can you give us
immediately was
your
Gordon
view on the
Harbrecht.
race so far? How are you seeing it, Dave?
Yeah, as I said, that NK boat at the front is attracting a lot of attention and is certainly setting a good pace. But I'm wondering whether that is in fact Gordon Harbrecht there, our defending champion. There's a consensus of opinion from the people that are following this online that it's actually Pierre, the Frenchman, who's sitting in that NK boat. So I'm looking for a good close-up shot at some stage. Maybe you've got a better screen monitor than I've got at this stage, but let's get 100% confirmation about who is actually in that NK boat. It's tricky without absolute GPS confirmation of who's in exactly which boat to confirm who's where. But I'm looking for a good close-up shot. Maybe we can get a good confirmation shot and see if there's a name sticker on that boat to corroborate it as well. So as they go past the stadium that was built for the 2010 Soccer World Cup here in Durban, named after Moses Mabhida, you get a sense of how the swell is picking up. The way this course is structured, they are going to be having to turn inside a buoy which is off Umhlanga Beach, which is going to keep them on a relatively close inshore line, and from then they'll be able to set target for the finish at Westbrook Beach, total distance of 34 kilometers. Rosie Edwards in great form early on in the women's race, and the field already spreading out. You've got a great wide shot from our lead tracking boat of just how far they've spread out. And as Oscar pointed out, there's a conventional wisdom that would take you out as deep as possible, because even though the swell is effectively running side on as it does on the coast with the wind swell blowing in from the south, that wave does allow you, if you're going into a deep line, to sort of turn and run in at any stage and optimize those runs. And there's a great view of just how far the field has spread out at this stage. Oscar Jones right in the mix. Thanks, Jez, for the comments coming in online. We certainly do appreciate the online community chipping in as well. Dean Gardner, the GOAT, would never put his hands down. We'll get Oscar's opinion on that. It is Pierre. Confirmation, yes, it is Pierre. Thanks for that global online community. Merci. Mixing up at the front of this race. We're 20 minutes into this elite men's race. The women are approaching the halfway mark, and we can get a shot at the moment. Looking so comfortable in the water, Danielle Richards, D-Mac, as many people still know her around the world. Heaps of experience in all sorts of surf conditions, and really looking comfortable, getting up onto the run. Boat speed stays high. One of those paddlers that's comfortable just to keep the blades ticking over when she gets up onto a run, not necessarily putting the paddles down or resting them, but laying down a great early pace in this race. Heaps of experience as well. Remember, she was world champ back in 2019, on the podium again in 2022. D-Mac, Danielle Richards now. Definitely putting herself right in the frame for this year's women's podium, and she keeps up this sort of pace, and she's got the tenacity, she's got the training base, and she's certainly got the experience base to make sure that she's going to be a real challenger in this women's title race. That's Pierre going nicely in the NK boat. Overcast conditions off Durban today. There was a risk that it was going to be a little bit rainy, but that's not the case. It's cool. It's pretty optimal in terms of racing. Anybody that's spent long hours in a ski will know that the hot weather can really be debilitating. So these are premium conditions. Ocean swell is great for downwind. You want to set this up in a way that the paddlers that have got downwind skills are really going to be able to show off what they can do and use those to optimal advantage. So the residential area of Durban in the background, that's the Kings Park Rugby Stadium in the background, for those of you that are rugby followers. This is normally when the discussion with the New Zealanders starts to get a little heated. Good comment coming in from Leanne. Any sign of Kira Bester? A lot of pressure and expectation on Kira Bester, having blasted onto the top step of the podium as an under-23. See what she can do, mixing it with the very best women in the world. Kira, part of the contingent which has come up from the Western Cape, part of the Orca squad. And there was great emotion and great celebration yesterday once the S2 race had concluded. It was a very successful day for that Orca Cape contingent. And one of the personalities who's always been larger than life in this sport, but who's now somehow front and center in this year's World Championship for the South African contingent and for the Orca squad in particular, was the late great Pete Cole. And there was some extraordinarily moving tributes paid to Pete, and I think he would have been really proud of the caliber of human being that had persevered in the conditions that were presented yesterday. Oscar Jones And some of the paddlers coming in from the deeper line now. Jasper Mocker is one of the seasoned athletes, which is keeping himself right in the mix there as well. We saw Jasper starting very strongly as they came off the line and went around Vetch's pier. Matt Finn is also coming in close to that front group. Two Finn brothers, Matt and Josh, are going to be prominent in there. At 34 kilometers should take roughly 2 hours odd. The men will be slightly quicker, I fancy. Mark Keeling had a good early start as well. Part of a very strong challenge from the local contingent here, which includes Uli Hart, Kenny Rice, no strangers to the sharp end of racing at international surf skis. Question being asked about exactly where do they stand. It's quite difficult to tell as the field spreads out at this stage, and even with the GPS tracking, it's tricky to try and put positions exactly to where these athletes are. It certainly will help when we get to the turning buoy, which is off Umhlanga, because that's going to concertina the field and give us a better sense of exactly who is where in this field. So the women's race with Rosie Edwards going strongly, Judith Fergus, who raced very strong yesterday, third in Madeira at the World Champs last year. Danielle Richards from New Zealand is laying down an early marker. Some really strong women in this field, and see how they present themselves later in the race. Czech Republic's Katerina Milova is on the water as well. Montana Murray from Australia. And then, of course, Kira Bester, who's the under-23 world champion, carrying the pressure of expectation as she races in the open race. Answering Martin's question online, no, we're not carrying live GPS tracking at this stage. Each of the athletes is carrying a safe track device, which is a GPS tracker, but that is a self-rescue safety device which allows them to contact the emergency services if there's any problem with any athlete in this field. It's a very standard device for surf ski racing around the world, but it doesn't enable us to do a GPS plot of all the athletes as they stand at any particular stage in the race. So there's a look at what's happening at the front of the race. Georgia Singer racing really well with Jade Wilson. Judith Vergas is sitting in there as well. And Andrea Jimenez. The evolution of surf ski racing continuing in leaps and bounds. First started as a world champs in 2013. First couple of years we had a world champs every other year. It was every 2 years. That carried us through till 2021. And then we've had a full-blown ICF Ocean Racing World Championships from 2022 and every year since then. So this takes us effectively to the 9th edition of the ICF's Ocean Racing World Championships. And an absolutely monster field of over 30 nations represented, bearing testimony to the fact that the sport is growing on in leaps and bounds. Feel free to keep any of those questions and comments coming if you'd like to. And there's a look at what is happening in the men's race. Pierre Valère in that NK boat. Oscar Jones in the white ski. And as they move further and further out of Durban Bay, which has always presented something of a shelter when it comes to wind and swell, see the nose of Oscar Jones's boat nudging in from the left of the screen. Gordon Harbrecht, our defending champion, caused a lot of very productive chatter in the surf ski community when Gordon won in Madeira last year. Some initially presenting that with a sense that it was a shock result. It certainly wasn't a shock result at all. If you look at the results, Gordon has been a regular visitor to the podium. If you track his results up until that victory in Madeira, he had a second in Lanzarote. He got 2 fourths. He was just off the podium, so it was no surprise that he was certainly in the mix. And Madeira provided the platform for just about the perfect race for Gordon Harbrecht, and a German world champion, which was fantastic for the sport of surf ski. Certainly breaking what is a perceived stranglehold on those world titles from some of the bigger nations like South Africa and Australia and New Zealand. Jasper Mocker in a strong chasing position. Josh Fenn is also right up there on that family Fenn ski of his. His brother Matt Fenn is chasing strong. Jorge Villa is in the chasing pack here. Jasper Mocker proving that age is not necessarily a factor when it comes to surf ski racing. And the one athlete that we don't have an eye on, we do finally have a track on because he's gone right inshore, is Hank McGregor. There we have the GPS log of Hank. Hank is very close inshore, which is unusual. Hank likes going deep. He's comfortable going deep. He's one of the great exponents. He's been successful in some of the big open ocean races like the Molokai. But Hank is taking an unusually inshore line here. And again, we are going to get to the point fairly soon where the paddlers are going to have to go around the inshore buoy at Mhlanga, and that will give us a great sense of just what a tactical gamble that is and whether it's going to pay off. And for those that have been following the sport of not just surf ski paddling, but of marathon racing and just about every paddle discipline, Hank McGregor has got one of the most impressive CVs around. 12-time marathon world champion. He's been hugely successful in surf ski, but on that glittering CV of his, there is one glaring omission, and he knows it. There is nothing he would love more than to add a surf ski, single ski title to that CV of his. He's 47 years old right now. He's racing in his home waters. He's been doing heaps of hard work. He's made this a priority. And to see whether Hank McGregor can complete a fairy tale on his home break. He literally lives up here in Durban, in the north part of Durban. So this could not be more familiar to him. He'll never have a better opportunity to put away that Ocean Racing World title. And it's tracked down to Travis and Oscar. Get a sense of how they are seeing things progress as we head closer and closer to the turn can off Mhlanga and the halfway point of this final day's racing.
Oscar, your comments on Hank going on an inside line? Interesting decision?
No, that's not a good decision. I mean, normally when that happens, it means that you've worked too hard to keep up with the people. So the only way to keep up with the people is to go inshore, so you're catching more runs, so it's easier. But it's gonna cost him at the end because he has to come back out. You can see Daniel Weekends has got it. She's on 56 minutes. I suspect she'll be getting in the buoy at about an hour. And Hank being in there, it's a big gamble because the bottom line is that you can see the wind's coming from the right-hand side. You want to be surfing right at the end of the race, and I think that's important. Daniel's doing it very well. And there's a Kira Bester now, also probably just behind Daniel Richards. They're having a good dice. You can see they're both got the same cadence, which is good, nice and rested. And you can see the houses on Mhlanga Rock starting. This is getting close to Durban View. So I suspect she'll be at the yellow can shortly within the next 4 or 5 minutes. And the guys are really, as I said to the people, they were saying, oh, but there's no waves here, there's no wind. I said, wait. And you can see here, this is plenty. This is the best downwind we've probably had for a World Championships, apart from Tahiti in the very first one. Because you can see, look at that nice big wave, but it's pushing it in shore. Kira, I don't know where Daniel is. Daniel McKenzie, we just can't see where it looks like. Is that Kira Bester coming second? And no, maybe Kira Bester's first. There's that plot on the left-hand side. I don't know if you can see it, Travis.
No, it's
ours
not clear
a
for
bit
me.
blurred, so we don't probably get some. But they should be. In 3 minutes. Kira Bester should be at that yellow buoy outside. And it has a shot from probably one of the SMG Yamaha boats there, tracking the race, because that's what you need. I mean, all these sponsors. I mean, you see Eurosteel, we see Sean Partners. It's fantastic. We've got so many people that make this happen, and not only the organizing committee, but you really have to have a strong organizing committee and a lot of sponsors to make an event like this so good. And it's fantastic to see the event growing from strength to strength. There we're going back to Kira, and let's see if I think Kira could be in front the way this boat is always panning to Kira Bester.
It is Kira Bester,
the reigning world champion, so she's looking good. Yeah, good. Thanks, Dave. But I don't know where Daniel McKenzie, who seemed to be in front most of the way. So hopefully they pan back a bit, as you see, looking back towards Durban there. But you can see the waves are fantastic. I mean, couldn't have asked for better. The back markers are going to enjoy it, and the front guys know they're in for a race. And you see Kira Bester is looking back, so I suspect that Danielle might be just behind if she's looking back, because you don't want to be looking back. In this race, you want to be catching guys in front of you and not looking back, because when you're looking back, you're missing the runs that are in front of you.
Oscar, do you think the decision by the race organizers to have that can off from Schlanger has influenced Hank's decision to go in closer earlier?
I think I'd suspect that's what he's thinking, but it's a tough read, because sometimes I always say there's a counter current further out, but I've never really counted that. And it is a sort of a contentious buoys, having any buoys on any races. I've had them affect me winning and losing. There's Kira Bester on the right, and Dave, you can confirm. So that's the young Frenchman and not Gordon Habrock down in front there.
That's Pierre. That's Pierre.
Pierre from France. He's a very good youngster.
Pierre
Raced
Pierre.
against him in Italy, and very good, very good.
David Mocker, I believe, is also right up at the sharp end of the race.
Yes, I saw his technique and I thought it was him, Dave. So we're not getting the actual values, so we haven't got all that on. So we're just looking, and I know most of these people's technique, having paddled with him for 30 years. That's what I like to see, putting his paddles down. I think that actually could be Gordon.
That will be Gordon.
That is Gordon. He's got a green life jacket. And you can see how big it is. Believe me, it's twice the size of what you're seeing on TV. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun towards the end.
Oscar, give us your prediction of what that surf is going to be like at the finish at
there, and I think that's David. Yeah, so that I went to see, and I got some good footage of it. It's going to be nice and small. The difference between these kind of conditions as opposed to yesterday, there'll be distinct gaps to get in, so that's going to help them. But the front guys can't look for gaps. They've got to go there in hard. See, that looks like David's technique up there, so he's up there, you know. So he didn't paddle the mixed doubles, so they're feeling a bit stronger. And I think that's what you need. You can see it's very nice. And Gordon, he's putting his paddle down very good. I like seeing people putting their paddles down. When you put your paddle down, you bring your heart rate down because you're always revving like you can't believe. And this is some of the men overtaking the ladies now. I'd like to see where Kira Besta is because the yellow boys should be coming up. The men are really going fast. They seem to have gone a little bit further out than the ladies, the men. And as they hang on the inside, yes, and that boy probably making a difference that he wanted to stay inside. But anybody I saw, I said, listen, you've got to go out, but not too far this time. You know, normally, as you know, Dave, when you were commentating the last time I raced there, I was coming off from Schlonga Rocks, probably 2 or 3 kilometers out, and I actually went too far out. I think it cost me a little bit, but these are things that you've got to. You can make mistakes, even the best.
It can get very lumpy off from Schlonga Rocks, where you get that feedback, especially if you're only 400, 300, 400 meters off from the lighthouse. You've got a lot of rocks in. It's the first time you get rocks along the coast really that gets that bounce back. So all of the swell hitting those rocks at Schlonga, always find it quite a tricky place. Always want to get past Schlonga and then it cleans up again. Sometimes you get some wonderful runs off Schlonga. They really just pick up and you can catch some of the best runs ever. But it is a tricky place to be. Dave, your comments on that?
Absolutely, and bear in mind there's also the current to play into, and this is where somebody like Oscar's experience will count for so much, because there's that strong current that is fundamentally running north to south along the coast, but there's a whole layer of subcurrents that are actually moving in the opposite direction. And as we mentioned yesterday, there can be days when you are what you think is flying on your ski. You look down at your GPS and you find you're going nowhere because you've just moved out of that current that's been pushing you, and you're suddenly going into a current and you are going actually very slowly. So knowledge of those currents and subcurrents can be so useful on a course like this. So we're heading towards the turn for you see already the leading men are going through the back markers in the women's field. It's an opportunity for us to take stock of what has been happening in the week of festivities that's been happening down here in Durban. The hospitality of the surf ski community has been unbridled. One of those events was at the Funky Pants HQ. Most of the paddlers are wearing funky pants when they paddle their surf skis. Billy Harker is the man with his wife Tracy, and Funky Pants HQ is the center of a lot of activity this week.
Welcome to Funky Pants. Take your pick. Funky Pants has been going since 2003. We started off as a surf ski brand, and now we are doing Funky Pants for running in, for paddling in, cycling in. We've got 3/4 full length. We've got water polo costumes, jammers, you name it, we've got it. Our first product was the paddling pants for the paddlers. That's where we started our brand in 2003. The payoff line is they are ridiculously comfortable, and the reason for that is they are double lined, and when you sit in the boat and you're paddling, the fabric moves with you. We are so excited to have these international paddlers here to come and see the HQ. We know a lot of them personally, and it's just great to have them in our home. And we wish all the paddlers from around the world best of luck for the race at the Canoe Ocean Racing World Champs.
My president, Javi, wants that I will be here checking everything.
So from the ubiquitous South African braai at Funky Pants HQ, a view of the lighthouse at Umhlanga. Travis, Oscar, familiar territory. This is a landmark on this stretch of the coast.
Yeah, I mean, that tower's been around for a long time in front of the Beverly Hills Hotel. It's got a little thing called Granny's Pool. So that's where you come in when you're going to do an Umhlanga paddle. And this is one of the most dangerous beaches to come in on a surf ski. In fact, I have to admit, I broke a surf ski there in half once, one of my 3 in over my lifetime, so it is tough.
And then the turn can will be, it certainly won't be in play as far as the surf is concerned, but they are going to have to come in at Mhlanga and then set course for Westbrook from there.
Yeah, it's a very straight line. Once you've gone from Mhlanga, it's basically a straight line to Westbrook. There's no use going further out or anything. That line, you'll stay 300, and as you catch the runs going left or right, you'll stay between, if that boy is 300 meters off, you'll stay and finish 300 meters off Westbrook, because it's basically a dead line. If you had to go to Belita, which is just far, then you'd have to work your way out. So you will just, I'm sure this footage is from the boat. So yeah, that's 300 or 400 meters, always contentious, the meters from the shore or the back line, or it's difficult. But as you can see, that again, it's looking calm, but there's lots of action out there. I would have thought the girls would be coming past there by now, 107. Yeah, so a time for me when I was going to Mhlanga was always to be under sort of 150, 145, I mean 45 minutes. There's the boat.
45 minutes.
That's the turning can. Again, it's moving, which straight away is a difficult thing to pick up.
And there's the first of the...
there's the first, now you see, now, there we go.
Can.
There's the can on the...
inside the can, that's correct, Oscar, 100%.
Yeah.
That could be the leading boat of Kira Bester.
And I think...
Kira Bester's had an absolutely brilliant year in terms of her ski and performance, but it's been building to this moment. Stepping out of the under-23 ranks, barking with the big dogs now, and really out to prove herself. Very dedicated, very focused, very strong person, and driven by a whole bunch of sub-layers to the plot this year. So she would love nothing more than to finish it off as she's gone through this Mhlanga turn can point right now. Danielle Richards is going to be the biggest threat to her right now, and it's all going to come down
just
to...
cross over there.
It's all yours, Oscar. Go.
Well, we haven't got, I don't know who's in front, whether it's Kira or Daniel McKenzie, because Daniel McKenzie was in front the whole time. And with our shots, I can't really tell who's in front, but they're doing 109, which is not a bad time to Mhlanga Rocks from DUC. You can see a whole lot of girls behind, but those two seem to be way ahead. And at this stage, I'd say, looking at their time there, they're going to go, they might just sneak under the 2 hours, 2:05. So that definitely, that looks like Danielle McKenzie coming past the boy now. So Kira's gapped her, Danielle Richards, I should say, by quite a while, I think, if this is Danielle Richards coming through here. She's getting some runs. They're missing that little run there. I would have been tight on that yellow boy. I mean, every little millimeter counts towards the end. Let's see, is this... Yeah, you see, it's difficult to see who's coming now third. So,
but this can is definitely going to bunch the field as they all come together around it. From a racing perspective, there's pros and cons. It is a good thing if you're around, suddenly you see where your competition is, you can realign yourself, because in the ocean, someone 50, 60 meters away from you, battle to even see them. So here, suddenly everyone's around you. You'll also get that heart rate beating quite heavily.
That's
Michelle Byrne.
Yeah,
That's Michelle Byrne. It looks like she's in third place. She's loving it. Yeah, so
title to defend,
I just don't know who the top two are. I don't know, on your screen, is it showing Kira in front? So, yeah.
My read at this stage is it's Kira in front, it's Danielle in second, and Michelle
you see they're
Byrne
showing
in
the age,
third.
giving the age away of these girls, eh?
Yeah.
That's good. You can see she's heading out a little bit, because you always want to be surfing back down, and so which she's doing the right thing. And I would have gone a lot closer to that yellow boy. Every meter counts. You lose and win and lose races by seconds. And there must be Rosie Edwards coming fourth, I think. It looks like, yeah, that's Rosie Edwards catching a nice little run there. So there really is great conditions for these guys. That's right, Rosie. Great picture of her going past there.
Still looking very comfortable.
Very comfortable. Nose down. Now you should be putting your paddle down. You know, once your nose is down, and put your paddle down. Fantastic beach, Mshlonga Rocks. Some lovely waves for surfing there as well, and lots of memories going past here. So it's quite a open field, which is suspected in runs like this. You can see the runs; they're big, but they take a lot of power. You'll see that the men will be a lot quicker and putting their paddles down a lot more, because you really need to have power in these runs, because it's a west swell. You can see the runs; they really are fantastic. I mean, I think the organisers have been very happy that these conditions prevailed as predicted, which is with all the modern technology. That's Michelle again, I think. Yeah, Saskia Huckley, also local Durban girl. So you're getting the perfect. We can't see on our screen; it's a bit small. You see, they are coming from outside, David. So that's quite good, Dave, that they're coming from there, because that's the right way to do it. That's how I would have hit that boy, coming in like that. So Jade Wilson. Again, you see these cadences. This has always got me, is that you'll see the best downwind paddlers have got the lowest cadence, and this is something that you see. There's a perfect run. She just needed 3 big, powerful strokes as opposed to just keeping the cadence high. And I think that's Daniel Richards again, who should be behind. And you know, David, that she's there we can see how close it is. Okay, so it's a real race we've got here going on.
Can see someone coming in from a very deep line, and they've got it wrong. They've almost gone too deep and are now wasting a lot of energy coming back to that can. That must be very frustrating, because they would have just been on great runs out there. You suddenly see the can having to hit that left rudder hard, head in, and then go around. Takes a lot out of you, and especially when you sort of see the finish line, you know where you want to go, and now you're having to change direction.
But as you can see from that shot right there, from coming from the right, you see the girl on the right. Look how much time she made up. So that's also the factor. So I'd rather be coming from outside, but not too much, than doing with other people trying to get back out.
Absolutely. As long as you don't leave it too late and then have to come back at almost a 90 degrees when you suddenly see the can when you're not thinking.
Oscar, from here,
that's the angle, Oscar, as you were saying, that 45 degree coming through from the deep.
No. There's not enough wind to. Oh, so there we see Daniel Richards in first. Do you see that, Dave? And then Michelle Byrne second, then Georgia Singh.
I still think Kira's ahead of them.
I think Kira's ahead of them. I don't know what's going on there, but
it's the perennial problem of trying to keep track
so
of
what,
schemes
Dave?
and
So once you go around that buoy, you just want to keep angling. It's basically straight shot to Westbrook. That looks like. Let's see. Travis, I'm going to leave it to you for a little while. I've got to go and do my duties quickly. There we go, because then the men should be coming in the next 5 minutes. I'm just going to go and have a break. I'll be seeing 1 minute.
Plunger in the background and the turn can, which marks roughly the halfway point in this 34-kilometer race from DUC to Westbrook. So as it stands, that graphic that we had up on screen, we're going to update, because what we've just seen on screen as they come around the can is Kira Bester, Danielle Richards is sitting in second, And then it's Michelle Byrne in third. As we saw them coming past the turn can, just to corroborate, Rosie Edwards was in the frame after that. Saskia Hockley was immediately behind that, and Jade Wilson. That's the tail of the tape as far as the women are concerned as they go into the second half of this. Enjoying the wave and the swell which is coming from behind. As we saw a few moments ago, the leading men are starting to catch up the slower female paddlers. So by the time they get here, there will be a number of the male paddlers mixed into the female skis as they come through this pretty close inshore can here at Umhlanga. As Oscar pointed out a few moments ago, it does mean that from here to Westbrook, you're going to have to be paddling a relatively close inshore line. Habitually, a lot of the trips that are done over the section would have been done a lot deeper out. But it does give us an opportunity to see who's who in the race for the podium at least, and of course that prestigious gold medal.
Bring it in closer, get a closer shot of this, or not zoom up, but just bring the drone in. Don't have to lower the gimbal.
Danielle Richards. And then we can go back and have a look at what's happening in the men's race. As you see on screen there, Pierre Verrea of France in that NK with the green nose. That's what it looks like in terms of a race lead. David Mocker, the seasoned Cape Townian. David and Jasper Mocker, trailblazers as far as surf ski is concerned down in the Cape Town. David sitting second. He'll be thrilled to pieces with that. He just needs to keep that momentum going. Tons of downwind experience. One of those senior figures when it comes to the surf ski training group down in the Cape, where arguably the world's most famous downwind exists. It's the Miller's Run. Fabled bit of downwind, 45 minutes, treated by the locals as the best downwind in the world. Swell is just lining up perfectly for them as they come into the second half of this race. ICF President Thomas Koniesko was here yesterday on the beach finish, and he'll be here again today, reveling in the growth of the sport of surf ski, representativity across all of the continents. And when you hear comments this morning from a whole bunch of nations saying, we regret not being here this year, we will be on the start line next year, it gives you a sense that the sport of surf ski is continuing a really rapid growth trajectory. The DMAC fans around the world are cheering her on, like Rachel Clark. Thanks, Rachel, for the comment. Danielle Richards locked in an arm wrestle with last year's under-23 champion Kira Bester. This men's race is concertinaing as well as they come through to the turn of Umhlanga. Pierre Vieira.
Third is, we can't tell right now. Yeah, definitely. Looks like seconds. Yeah, there you can see on his ski that's David Mocker. And it looks like he's about to overtake.
David Mocker, so easy to spot from his paddle style and that unique cap that he likes to wear, nudging his way closer and closer to the front. This will be a surprise. If David Mocker
Okay, sorry, coming in a bit. Okay, we've got Pierre and David leading. Coming in here. Oscar's just taken a little break, and I think we've lost Dave's comms to Canada. So, excuse me while I pick up here. Okay, we've got Pierre doing it incredibly well. The Frenchman leading there. And David Mocker, as Dave was saying, the perennial peddler, I think he's just trying really, really hard to keep away from his son, because his son Sam Mocker is peddling this race, and he's an upcoming junior of exceptional talent. And obviously there's a bit of an internal family bet going on and bragging rights at breakfast table tomorrow. So David's putting everything in to keep ahead of his son, and the glory of winning another world title, or world title for him. He's won so many races. I don't think he has a world title in his bag, so he'd certainly like that, and we'd definitely decorate his mantelpiece with absolute pride. All these front guys are going to start concertinaing now, as we've said, towards that turn can, the mandatory turn can, for safety, to bring the field together so they're not spread out. As Oscar was saying earlier, he can be 2 kilometers off the beach, taking a totally different line if there was no compulsory can to come round. And this really does bring the field together, and it's going to be interesting from there, because the race is going to happen in the last 10 kilometers. The guys with the energy, guys and girls with the energy saved, energy stored for that last 10 kilometers. It's a long race, 34 Ks, and the pace has been frenetic all the way through. Much longer in the distance, right. They're going to start seeing, the guys mentioned earlier, the iconic landmarks of the lighthouse.
And in the bunch you can see there, Travis, we must be looking for the likes
and the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Josh Fenn, Matt Fenn, Uli Hart, Kenny Rice, where the local challenge was expected to come from. They will be looking to assert themselves at this stage in the race. So confirmation then, as it stands right now, Pierre Vieira, David Mocker at the front, and Uli Hart, according to our GPS tracker, is sitting in third place.
That looks like Uli on the screen now in the Fenn boat, and it almost looks like he's taken the lead. He's really pulling hard. There's a ding-dong battle between the two of them there, with the red nose and Uli on this side. You can see Uli doing what Oscar was saying earlier, putting in those big strokes to catch the runs and keeping the other paddler on his left-hand side.
And I think David senses that something is happening here as well, because he is now doing everything he
David
can
with
to
the
try
red
and
top.
stay with Uli. Uli's just come slicing through this front pack like a knife through hot butter. And there's another green NK nose. Is that Gordon Harbrecht shoving his presence back into the front frame?
Does look like it, Dave, as we joining Oscar back. Oscar, to keep you up, Uli Hart has come racing through in the Fenn in the middle. David's on the right. We've got Pierre on the left, and are we thinking that's Gordon behind, or is that one of the ladies that's just going out the back? No, I think that's one of the ladies. So I think these are our three front runners at the moment: Pierre, Uli, and David Mocker.
Sure. And tell me who came around the buoy first? Or haven't they got there?
They've gone around the buoy, and at the buoy it was Uli who suddenly put in a surge, and we hadn't seen any head or tail of him, and suddenly he was there making his presence felt.
Yeah, he sacrificed the mixed doubles, and I think it is helping him today, like the other guys that have also done it. And this is the fun part. I mean, this is fairly straightforward. You're going to be watching your opposition the whole time and heading straight to Westbrook. There's no the coastline's completely flat here, and I would work my way out a little bit, but keep all my opposition on the left-hand side. This is when it's going. I mean, this is you've just done 15 kilometers, and you're basically halfway here. So this is where the power needs to start coming. But you can see it's good to see the South Africans coming to the fore now. And how's Hank doing? Because he was on that inside line. I don't think it was a good thing to do, but you never know. Maybe old dog has got some good ways. So they're gonna probably do about a 1 hour 50, 45, 50, depends how long the last bit goes. And the women's are going to do about 2 hours 10. So it's fantastic conditions. You can see they have to work out a little bit out, but their run's there all the time. They should be putting their paddles down, and we're getting more and more waves here, and more chance to put your paddle down.
That gives you a great sense of just how some of the paddlers
There's
are
another
opting to head
going
slightly
past another
deeper.
woman. She's a little bit further out.
And Oscar, at this stage, you must be thinking about how you would start sizing up your approach into Westbrook. Whether you want to have an angled charge with some swell behind you, or whether you're going to gradually work your way inshore and literally make it as short a distance to the finish as possible. What would you have done here?
This is the very important part of the race, because now we all bunched up. The best place to be when you're all bunched up and going with a swell coming from your right is to have all your opposition on your left, no matter what. That is your ultimate goal from now until 1 or 2 kilometers from the finish, is to keep your opposition on the left, because you can always surf down on them. It's much harder to surf up and try and catch somebody. It's much easier to surf down on them. So that's what you're really looking for, is to make sure all your opposition's on this case on your left-hand side. So it's fairly straightforward. So if they go in, you just go in, but you must keep on the right-hand side, because when you come into Westbrook, you want to be going downwind when you're the weakest that you are. You've pushed yourself hard here. These guys have gone out hard. They're feeling it, and now you have to make sure you watch your opposition, because as I say, as I said before, it's not about time. It's about trying to win this race. The only way you win this race is by seeing other people. Is that Hank looking like there? No, it doesn't look like Hank, but
that's Chill. That's
there.
Corey Hill.
Oh, Corey, there we go. Corey's finally up there. He's looking. You see, yes, and you notice something, and he's one of the best downward paddlers. Look at his cadence, guys. Look at his cadence. Much lower cadence than the other guys, and that's what you're going to have, is a low, powerful stroke downward paddling, not these high cadence. And you can see David's behind there, and he's got a much higher cadence than Corey. You notice that? So that's why the Clint Robinsons of the world, the Dean Gardner is probably one of the guys that's a little bit of higher cadence. But look at Corey's cadence, very low, very comfortable. That's important, because basically catching runs is about 2 or 3 hard strokes, not lots of little strokes, because then you can't get your cadence up when you're going 20, 25 kilometers. In fact, on a run down here, on this section, I did my fastest ever time on a downwind run at 56 kilometers an hour. So that's how fast you can go. You see, Corey's cadence is very low. I love seeing that. That's what it takes, because then you've got the few strokes which he's doing now, powering to get on and then resting. You can see he's resting it, and there he is, putting his paddle down and bracing on the right-hand side.
There you go. He's taking the Oscar Master class and showing us how it's done. I've got a message through from Mark Asher, who used to live in Durban, is now in Sweden, and he's saying he's got a much bigger TV than me, and he's telling me that it's Gordon in the front with a green life jacket with a boat to the green name and not Pierre. Sorry if we've made that mistake. We'll have to check on that. Mark, thanks very much for sending that message through. That could be interesting if it's Gordon that's taken to the front. We would have thought that's where he should be.
I predicted that, and I thought he should be in the front.
Gordon front,
let me tell you,
Pierre
they're
in
showing
4.
Corey, because Corey's probably going through this field nicely. You can see he's dropped those. Pierre in 4, okay.
There
so
we go. Thank
and
you,
where
Dave.
is Corey coming, Dave?
Corey is chasing in on that front pack, so he's moving in, and the quickest mover into the top 5.
And where is Hank from this earlier inside line?
He is not in that top 5 picture as we see it right now, Oscar, which is really surprising. It looked like he was making a move from that extreme inside line, which I don't think anybody expected and saw coming. But it doesn't look like it's producing the goods for the 47-year-old today.
You know, you should have come to the 62-year-old and got some advice, and I would have given him some good advice, like I try and do to everybody. I don't mind giving all my secrets away in it, and I've done this, as I say, I've got many years, 15 years of paddling more than Hank in these conditions, and they count, and I know every single different little thing. So whenever you're at a race, if you want to know something, I'm going to tell you, and I don't hide anything. I like to help everybody to go well. You see, Corey's got a really nice low cadence here. He's sitting in 5th, which is really nice. And you notice he's putting his paddles down and he's throwing some water up into your face. That's what you do These are all the things, the little tricks, the little small nuances that make you a little bit better than everybody else. And the way Corey's paddling here, I'm impressed.
Looking over his
He's
shoulder.
doing it right, you know. And as I say, Gordon's very powerful, but you see, Corey's very relaxed.
That's why they call him the chill.
Yeah, so just giving you times, the conditions that I'm looking here, I'm thinking that the winning men's time is going to be about probably 145-ish to 155. It's hard for me to judge from here, and the women will go 2 hours 5, 2 hours 10. You can see very straight line. The next part that you're seeing in this TV shot there is Mshloti, and Mshloti, you can see it's not going out, so you're heading it around. And then you see there's the Yamaha SMG boat there trailing. I love boats in the water because they give a little bit of help that nobody can see. I love that. And you can see Corey pushing hard now to catch a run, turning left, perfect, and down with the paddles. That's the most important. And then splashing his face. Believe me, because he's probably going 18 to 20 kilometers an hour and going out again. He's splashing his face because you get so hot because you're getting the same speed as the wind at the moment. They're going 18 to 20 kilometers an hour here. And he's got a perfect line. You can see in the very far distance, Belito. And here, must be the French guy behind Corey now, I suspect. I can't tell from this angle, but again, the French guy's doing the right thing. Follow somebody that knows what he's doing, and Corey knows what he's doing.
And interesting, Oscar, as you've been saying the whole time, that resting that Corey's doing, and now you see in the second half of the race how it's paying off, because he's still looking so composed. The other front guys we were watching, you kept saying, why aren't they resting, why aren't they resting? We didn't see the pedals down. They could have been working a little bit too hard to that halfway, and it's now taking its toll.
It's definitely taking a toll. I mean, 34 kilometers. It's going to, there's Bernardo there, he's dropping back. Again, a lot of these guys put a bit too much effort in the beginning, and they didn't realize 34 kilometers is a long, long way. And you really want to be very fresh in the last 5-6 kilometers, because in these conditions, Dave, is that you'll find that you make up so much in the last 5 kilometers, and that's where I used to catch most of the people, is at the end when they all failing, and I've tried to rest the whole way.
Oscar, you got a good point about staying fresh and being strong at the finish. Here's a question that's come in for you from Craig Stewart. Oscar, what would you be drinking on a race like this? And I'm sure he's not talking about after the race. What would you drink during a race like this? Ultra distance, keep your energy high, keep your matches dry for the end.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a very contentious point. I don't believe in drinking anything, zero, because I don't want any part of my basal metabolic rate to be using energy to digest anything. So what I really make sure is that I've rehydrated before.
And drink nothing on the race.
No, nothing in the race. I don't believe, especially if this is going to take 2 hours. It's cool enough. The maximum I do is I take 150 milliliters of water just in my top of my life jacket, and if I need it, I'll take it. But I don't, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you practiced, then that's how I practice. I do Belita. I do 80-kilometer paddles, no water. I don't need it. Our body's so refreshed. So here in the foreground, we've got Bernardo from Portugal, and I think Gordon's still in the lead, but Corey and them seem to have a better line. They're a little bit further out than Gordon. Gordon's gone a little bit too far in, I think. And as Greg Kitto, our director's doing a fantastic job, he's saying these are like the chase bunch right behind. This is the perfect situation to have a very, very close finish shortly. So as I say, they had 112. I suspect they're going to do 150. The closer I can see, the better. You know. And there's our drone boat and things supplied by all the guys helping there. I mean, we really have to thank all the sponsors for making this event such a successful event, and Colin Simpkins and his team and the whole DUC team. I mean, it's magnificent. Look at this. Look at this coverage. This is the best coverage we've ever had. And great Kitto and I go back from a lifetime, by the way. He was a young little boy when I was a young little boy as well. And
You were
his
never
father
a
was
young
a
little boy.
legend in life-saving world. And I was never little. I was young, but I was never little.
Oscar, the one
We
thing we
haven't seen
did
the
see as
ladies
well,
for a
looking
while,
at,
so
at
we can only
the
suspect that race is getting very exciting at the moment.
Oscar, would you normally put a wave deflector on your ski? I mean, we're looking at the front 5 paddlers. Some of them are putting wave deflectors on their skis, some of them are not. What's your thinking on that?
No, the wave deflector is the most essential part of paddling. I mean, I don't understand why people don't have wave deflectors. It doesn't slow you down one bit. I mean, understand this, when you're going down a 20-foot wave, a little wave deflector does nothing, but it expels all the water coming into your cockpit area, and then you don't have to open and close your bailer. So now modern day surf skis have got bailers, so you open and close them. When they close, it's completely shut, it's smoother, it's faster, and then when you're going down a run, you open your bailer, it doesn't do anything, but it helps having your wave deflector. Wave deflectors, it keeps the water out. I mean, that extra 1 or 2 kilos counts at the end of the race. People don't realize all these little things. I mean, I remember my last Molokai, I won about 12 seconds over 3 hours, 23 minutes against Clint Robinson from Australia, because I spent a bit of extra time doing this and that and that, and all those little things add up, and that's what life's all about, trying to make these little things count for you so they help you.
Oscar, would the little things in your race include something like shortening your paddle or lengthening your paddle? I mean, you've got the opportunity, if you're sitting on a run, to actually adjust your paddle. Would you ever do that in the middle of a race like this?
This is the perfect example. This, as you get tighter, I don't care who you are not as strong as you start. So that's why I introduced that in the year 2000. So now 23 years later, 25 years later, they are all starting to do that, because as you get weaker, you want to keep the same cadence, and the only way you can keep the same cadence is by shortening your paddle. So I've always shortened my paddle. In this race, I would have, in my prime, started at 218. By the end, I would have been down to 212, 213, because you need that less resistance so that you can keep your cadence the same. Again, because what happens to people that keep the same length paddle, all they do is they do shorter strokes with no energy, and that's why you've seen in the past in the Molokais, I started at 220 in those days and finished at 210. So I'm holding the paddles right on the blades, and that's why I managed to beat Clint. Clint starts with 218 and finished with 218. He's not even Clint Robinson's got that power. So even Hank and even the marathon paddlers, they've all started adopting something that I did, as I say, 20 years ago. They're slow learners, some of the people, Dave.
Gordon Harbrecht, by the way, some great identifying tips coming in from Doreen. Look for Gordon's NK boat, because he's got the NK stickers on his paddle blades as well. There's your identifying, and sometimes those paddle blades are something, the only thing you can see above the swell and the chop. So there's your identifying landmark for Gordon's NK boat.
Hello guys, it's 40 minutes past 10, it's 20 to 11. We are 1 hour and 40 minutes into the women's race and 1 hour and 20 minutes into the men's race of this year's SS1 championship of the ICF.
Really enjoying the international support for the athletes taking part in this year's Ocean Racing World Championships. Team Hong Kong getting a lot of vocal support online. Thank you, Yusuf. Your defending champion, the man who put Germany on the map when he got their first surf ski world title. And this is a look at Westbrook, Oscar. That's the way the back line is stacking up, and this is going to come into play in about the next 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah, so understand that you see those rocks on the right-hand side. You just want to avoid those and then come straight in. You can see the beach run up through the Eurosteel flags. The important thing is not to come too early, because then you're going to do a long run up. You want to come in direct line of that Eurosteel banner. So you can sort of, if you take a chance, you can see there's like a point break. But the big thing for the back markers is that you can wait. You can see there's lulls. But that little shore break is going to sort out a lot of people. This race is going to be won again on the little shore break, trying to time your shore break, because this is a boat breaking little shore break if you rushing it, you know, and these top guys are going to be rushing it. If you see outside, there's a wave breaking there. You can just get that, peel that all the way to the right into this little breakwater. There's a few rocks over there, and then up a steep bank. But it's looking much easier than yesterday, but not much. I mean, I wouldn't say much easier, but much more controlled. Because in an east swell, the wind, the waves are always coming at you all the time. You can see here, there's proper sets, because this is normal west. I'm surprised there are not a few surfers out there on that right break. But it's going to come down. I can tell you right now, this race is coming.
David Mocker, the old man from the Cape, is motoring.
And he's a little bit further out, which is good. I think I like that line that he's on. I don't know where he's coming. I can't tell where he's coming, but you can see the girls have gone in because they've chased the runs going in. And that tends to happen now. As you get tired, you want to pick up some runs, so you end up going left. And I think who's in the inside? In the inside there of Jasper of David, looks like it's Jasper, but I can't tell from here. So this is a great line that they're on. He's got a much higher cadence than Corey, if you notice that. But he's been putting in the work. And that's what it takes, guys. I mean, this is just the end, and there he's putting his paddle down. As I told you, he bases on his left-hand side. He's a right feather paddler, and this is the start of Mshloti. You see, that's the start of Mshloti, and that's another nice paddle of about 22 kilometers. So from Mshloti to where we go in there at 22, we're going to have 8-9 kilometers to go, and the speed they're doing, I reckon, yeah, they're going to be in the 45-50 range, and the girls are going to go 205. I'm just guessing. There's David always racing on the left-hand side. He's a right feather paddler. He's getting some good runs here. These are stunning conditions. It's not too hectic, but you can rest. As soon as I see people putting their paddles down, and there's a whole bunch of paddlers that he's chasing down. Some women, obviously, and Dave, what can you see from your screen?
Yeah, I think David doesn't want to get distracted. It is the female paddlers that are on his inside, but I think David has taken some astute decisions about staying on a slightly deeper line. He's thinking about that final turn where he's going to gradually work his way in towards Westbrook. One of the things that surf ski paddling just lends itself to, and marathon paddling does it the same thing, where age becomes less of a factor. So many of the sports, you have youth and your prime when you can be at your peak athletic form. But a sport like this will allow somebody in their 40s into their 50s to still be really competitive and vie for a place on a world championship podium, as David is evidencing right now.
Yeah, so age is no big deal. I mean, I won my last Malacca at age 49, which is quite old, beating Clint Robinson. And then my last big international race was in Brazil, and I won that at 58 years old, and the guy who came second was 28. So age is no boundary in our sport.
Oscar, before we get to the sharp end of the race, just give me your overview on Hank McGregor. And we're not going to discuss his inside line or his tactics at this stage. Knowing Hank as you do as a personality, this is the one glaring omission on his CV, and he would love nothing more than to add it to his CV before he can maybe throttle back on his competitive racing days, if that'll ever happen. But your read on Hank and his chances this year in his hometown? He'll probably never get a chance to do it again at a World Champs.
Yeah, I mean, he's made some interesting decisions going inside, and again, at that yellow buoy, if you're already behind there, it's a lot harder to catch up at the end of a race. Although, as you know, he's like a diesel engine, he's going to be fairly strong towards the end, but he would have had to work quite hard to get out to that yellow buoy, which is going to cost him, you know. So he came very close to what was a World Cup in 2006, where I managed to pip him. He also was very upset about that one as well. So he's trying to get it going, and I think he's a man he's got a lot of tenacity. You don't win all those races without hurting yourself, and he's going to be hurting himself to do well.
There are a few paddlers, if any, that have managed to be successful across such a breadth of disciplines, whether it's marathon racing, surf ski racing. He's a prolifically successful river marathoner. He really does rank up there with one of the benchmark paddlers of our generation.
Yeah, I think he's done a fantastic job. Moved now closer to Belito, which is his home turf. You can see now, I think that's Gordon and Bernardo ahead of David. David's probably looking at 6th, 7th place there. And I'm sure Corey's up there. I can just see by the boats. This is Mshloti. This is in front of the famous Bel Punta restaurant. You always go and sit there and look at the paddlers coming past, eating a lovely meal with Emmanuel and Vanessa there. And interesting to see how they're all bunching up now. You can see, because the line from here is they're saying it's 7 kilometers to go, and at this pace, 21, yeah, so 7, they're probably 21 to 4, yeah. So they're going to be on my number there, 150. 150, I reckon they're going to do, just 150, 155. So you're taking it hard. That's a long race. 155. I mean, it's up there. Bernardo, there is David. So he's keeping them all in check. So, and he's in a slightly better line. Like it, he's putting his paddles down, and he's got, as I said before, I want all my opposition on the left-hand side of me here, and it looks like he's definitely got them. You can see there's those guys all on the left. You can see Bernardo, that's Gordon or the young French guy, and it looks like Corey a little bit more inside. So David seems to be the furthest out, which is not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, Dave. What is the screen showing? Who's leading now?
We're still going with Gordon.
I think that's Kira Best on the right.
This is a look at what's happening in the women's race, and in a perfect world we'd have 4 or 5 different split screens so we could watch all of the races from lead and chasing bunch for both the men's and women's. But I must say, both the boats that are at the front of the race are doing a great job of keeping us in touch with what's going on. But there isn't another ski in sight as Kira Bester forges on to see if she can bag her first open gold medal. Kira, one of the athletes who is profoundly influenced by Pete Cole, and if she can pull this one off, it will be a hugely emotional moment for not only Kira but for everybody involved with that Orca squad.
So she's going past the old finish that we had once at Mshloti Rivermouth, where you saw a bit of carnage there a few years back. Nice and close in and looking back. So she's obviously in the lead and looking for where Daniel Richards is. So it must be a close race. If she's looking back at this stage, she can't be that far ahead, although we can't see. So again, I'm not one of those people going to look back too much at this far out. So she's got about 6 kilometers to go. I wouldn't be looking back. I'd be looking forward and looking at that gold medal. It should be gleaming at the end. And she's paddling very nicely. Slightly higher cadence again. A lot of the Cape Town people, because they've got these little short runs and the Miller's Run, have got higher cadence, as you'll notice. With the guys from Durban and things like that, have got a much lower cadence because they've got much bigger and faster runs.
Kira won the world under 23 last year. So this is stepping up to the senior level and looking like she's going to go from gold medal to gold medal, which is an incredible performance in her first year in the seniors.
Yeah, she's doing fantastically well, and that's all due to the Orca squad and good friend Peter Cole, who's really made Cape Town paddling grow a lot, him and David Mockey, because the mecca of paddling was in Durban. The biggest race I ever did was on a Friday night dice where we had 650 paddlers. And then obviously Billy Harker was instrumental in the men's health series. And this is all culminating. All these little things help to make this event so special and so big, and make the sport so big. And I think that's what it takes. These people out there that they just give of them time, most of them for free, to make things happen. And I think I'm really proud to be part of a sport that's just grown exponentially and nicely around the world. 34 nations here. It's fantastic.
Oscar, we had Thomas in the studio here, actually in your seat yesterday, and he said from the ICF perspective, Surski is the one discipline that every continent can paddle, or every continent could become part of. So from an international paddling perspective, it's the one discipline that's going to be universally available to the majority of the people. So they've got a really a focus on moving ocean paddling to the forefront and across the world to get every single continent involved, which is a fantastic thing to hear.
And also the fantastic thing about it is it doesn't have to be an ocean. Believe me, there's some lakes. I've done races in Canada and lakes where the waves are huge. So downwind racing, as long as there's wind, I mean, Lake Como, these fantastic places that you can go all over the world.
Like the gorge downwind.
It's a safe sport. Let's put it there. It's safe. If you've got a life jacket, you're paddling with somebody. Exactly. But if you've got a life jacket and you can do a remount, you're safe as a house. And now you can see the size of the swell. It's much bigger than you think. There's Daniela
Richards.
She's going very well, and she must be just behind Kira, I think. Daniel Richards, she must be just behind Kira, I think. Catching runs, lovely runs, lovely. This is coming to the, as I say, to me, she's looking like she's about 200 meters behind there. Racing on the left-hand side, another right-hand side paddler, you see, every single time, and then splash your face. Even though it's
this
cool,
should give us an idea of how far behind she is. There's a great look.
Speed as the wind.
That's a lovely one. Thank you.
That is a great look. I mean, well done to the cameraman out there. I know it's tough out there in these choppy conditions. Fantastic footage. Kira, I think, has got this fairly wrapped up unless Daniela can get some really big runs. But you see, they are both catching runs, but they're not putting the paddles down, unlike the men that are putting the paddles down all the time. It's just a sort of a strength thing. You just need a little bit extra. There we go. And she's bracing on the right-hand side, which I like to see sometimes. She's looking back, so she's obviously feeling the heat. And Daniela is also no slouch coming out towards the end, but these two seem to have wrapped it up. And I'm sure Michelle will be reveling in these conditions, so she spends a lot of time down here. In fact, we just went past where she is a Peace Cottage. And she lives at Peace Cottage, which is just down the road here. This is coming towards, let's say they're 155. So my prediction is going to be fairly good at about 210, 215.
And Kira's still finding the energy of the waves here. She might not be putting the pedals down, but you can see she's having a little break, dropping her intensity a bit, and then there she goes. Even did that leaning forward in her boat, getting ready to line up for that next one.
You don't have to be putting your paddles down, but you can see she's on the run now. She taps off, so she's doing it like 60, 70. You see how she's just going. She doesn't put the paddle down. She's not used to doing that, where us old guys, we have to put our paddle down. I haven't got any energy to keep them up. I've got to rest my paddle on my knee, lying there and say, let me get this heart rate down. They're young, they can just carry on paddling, but they're paddling easier. So when they're trying to catch their run, you go 110%. And when you're on the run, you just tap from 110 to 10% just about. You'll see now she's probably on 10%. She's on a nice wave. She could have put her paddle down, but she's got enough energy and youth in her side to keep paddling.
Oscar alluded it to earlier, the positioning of your body in the boat, the leaning the boat, the use of pedals. I know you don't stomp on your pedals to change direction.
Yeah, the secret here is that little girl, not a little girl, she's 20, Kira, no matter how much she leans forward or back, it's hardly going to make any difference to a 6.4 meter boat. So you want to concentrate on your technique primary. And your technique is about driving your foot into that foot plate and your toes just managing that rudder. You don't need to lean. The only time you ever lean is when you're going down a big run and you're leaning on your paddle blade. You want to keep as efficient as you are in flat water. That's why I always say the best downwind paddlers should be also the best flat water paddlers. As you can see, Gordon Auerbach, Corey Hill, Clint Robinson, Hank McGregor, all good flat water paddlers because you need the power, but the best thing is they're both on the wave. Not far apart, but it's going to be tough.
Okay, it might be the first man on the back there.
That's the leading man. And look at that. If that's the leading man, that's Corey's technique. You can see that low cadence between the two there. Look at that. Low cadence because you want the power, just those 3 strokes. And it looks, you see, and he's putting his pedal down.
Pedal is down.
So he's got to, so if that's the leading boat on the left, Dave, you can fill us in. Let us know.
Where's Steve? I'm not sure where Steve is.
Yeah, that's definitely Corey Hill.
Yeah, and inside is Gordon.
Okay, I'll try find him. Get him to call you.
Great line. You see, power, and then paddle down, and he braces on the right-hand side.
Okay, cool.
The best brace both sides. As I said, he's conserved his way. He wasn't up there in the front. And if this is him, 1:35 out, I said 1:45, 10 minutes to go. It's going to be hard for anybody to catch him if that's him in the lead. And you can see how he's still got his low cadence, looking for the best runs. Not every run, just the best runs. Dave, what are you seeing on your screen?
Yeah, I just got an interesting update on the women's race because there's some movement happening that is potentially going to shape the podium. So we know Kira Bester and Daniela Richards are at the front, but Georgia Singer is now moving comfortably into 3rd position. She's putting the heat on Michelle Byrne and has just gone past her. The news from the water is that Saskia Hockley is actually dropping back at the stage. Remember, she raced a huge day in the mixed doubles yesterday. Melanie van Niekerk is now coming through with Jade Wilson, and they are now putting pressure on Michelle Byrne, who's currently in 4th. Georgia Singer is currently on the podium in 3rd, and that will be a great result if it comes good.
If you were coming in or towards our left-hand side, meaning we may have some badges coming in.
That's fantastic to see. I mean, it's great to see so many ladies out there, women paddling out. It's a sport for everybody. It's made for everybody, and I'm glad it's growing, and I think it's, again, testament to Peter Cole in Cape Town, where a lot of the girls come from, and a few girls in Natal, and the river paddlers, they're coming into the sea as well. So it's fantastic to see, and to me, Kira Bester seems to have this lined up. I mean, we haven't got very far. We know all these little houses along the way. She's in the right direction, and it's 2 hours. So yeah, my prediction, yeah, I say she's going to be 3 kilometers away. So she could probably get to a 3 hour 15, 3 hour 10, 3 hour 15. Fantastic conditions. What a pleasure to be here. Just to be here and commentating has been something else. It's been a strain in my life. I can't believe it.
Well, Oscar, you did manage to travel a few time zones to grace us with your presence today, and we really do appreciate it. We know you've been out in Germany and had to make a lot of sacrifices to get here. So from the entire surf ski community, I've got to thank you. It wouldn't be the same without having Oscar here today. We would love to have been seeing you out on the water and be able to comment on you, but having you here in Durban and being part of all of this, it's incredibly special. Thank you so much for being here.
No, pleasure. I mean, the whole thing about this is, I think, is giving back. You know, the sport's given me so much, and it's always good to give back. I mean, I was lucky I had some very clever German doctors that gave me platelets so I could fly back. Otherwise, I would have been stuck in hospital watching and not in being involved. And it really is special to be seeing old friends coming from Australia. Terry Fox, I mean, he must be 80 years old, easy. I mean, I haven't seen him for such a long time. You see all these people that you've been associated with for all my life. I mean, basically, this has been my life. I'm 62. I think I started at 6 or 7 as a nipper, but I started paddling in the ocean at about 10. So I've got 52 years of fun, and I've always, as my very close friend Joe Glickman always said, all I wanted to do is get somebody to paddle. They must just paddle. They must bugger all these other sports. Just go and surf ski paddle, and it'll change your life. And it has. So many people never give up the sport. Even you shouldn't be sitting here. You should be paddling.
I haven't given up. A little injury to get over to before I get back on the water. But I can only echo that, Oscar. You were always there. You know, it was actually, I commented a number of times when you were over in Portugal and not around about how quiet it was at surf ski races without you and how much we missed you, because you were always there with that entertaining comment or that little chirp, or that just made it so much more fun. And then, you know, you're always there to offer advice or to assist, or from the person who just walked down there and didn't know anything. Next minute you'd see Oscar talking to them and you'd think, geez, I hope they can understand what he's saying, or who he actually is that is giving this advice, because it's incredible that you're always such a presence at all these events.
Yeah, thank you. And sorry, Dave's been around a lot as well, helping us out and putting it on the media. And that's what you need. You need a team. You need a team and people that love the sport. We're getting fairly close here. Those houses is like the haunted house you'll go past next, and then you know you've only got like 2 kilometers or 1.5 kilometers to go. When you've done this stretch so many times, you know all the little houses, and you want to be ahead of the next guy, especially in the training sessions with Herman and Hank and Matt. This is where it comes down to. You can see the runs are really good, and I think Kira's going to be a world champion, not only under 23 but open, and she's paddling very nicely, and she's got youth on her side. That's why she just paddles all the time, as opposed to Corey, who you see he's always putting his paddles down. So I don't know, Dave, have you got updates from the men's as the women's comes to the close here?
Yeah, I think for now, Oscar, let's keep our eye on the women, and just exactly what you're saying about having youth on her side. Looking at Kira on the water right now, she's pulling off probably the biggest challenge that any serious athlete is going to have when you experience success either at a junior level or an under 23 level. To be able to convert that into success as a senior or in an open level is often such a big step. And there's often a process where you have to be content with 4th, 5th, and 3rd, and then grateful for a spot in the podium, but you're a long way away from winning the big one and getting onto the top step of the podium. So what Kira is doing here, remember she won the under 23 title in Perth. She won it again in Madeira, but that was an under 23 race, and she had Anna Swetish, who is runner-up to her on both of those occasions. Anna's not here this year. But now here she is stepping into the big time, racing up against an extraordinarily strong women's field. She's done her homework here. She's got up here in Durban. She's done her runs both down to Toti and here to Westbrook, and she's learned the nuances and the intricacies of this course. And she has just been so dogged and determined, and her life has been molded by the tragedy which happened down in the Cape earlier this year when she lost her coach and mentor and the man who gave her all this incredible self-belief. And through all that process of mourning and grief that's gone on down in the Cape Town, she has come out of it so strong and so determined. And I think what you're seeing on screen right now is a cocoon of determination, emotion, athletic ability, but then this huge emotional time bomb that she's carrying, which I think when she gets to the finish, and if it all goes according to script and she gets to the finish first, is just going to complete a magical moment for everybody that's been struggling to deal with this void that's been left in the Western Cape. So don't want to overburden her with emotion. I'm glad she can't hear me saying this, but it's going to be a massive moment if it continues the way it's going right now.
Yeah, I mean, she's looking very comfortable. She's probably got 2.5 Ks, and on the left-hand side, I think that's Corey Willing, as I predicted, that slow cadence, and he's got the right line. And look at him putting his paddles down. You see the difference between the two. He's putting his paddle down, and he braces on the right-hand side. Also, a little bit of coaching from somebody sitting here as well, so he does it the right way, and they look very good. Both of them are looking very so, but you can see the difference with Corey coming on the northeast coast of Australia, where they've also got sort of Durban type runs. He's very comfortable. I see some boats on the inside, so I don't know who's winning the men's, but Kira's definitely got the women's. There, the first you can see the first bit of rocks of Westbrook coming. So she's, as I say, probably got 1.5 kilometers to go, 2 kilometers. That'll put her at 2:15, 2:16 odd. I like Corey's line. If that's Corey's line, he's on the outside, as he the advice he's been given all the time is to keep opposition on the inside. You can always surf down.
Oscar, before we get to the finish of the women's race, a question for you from Anders Anderson. A technical question. Oscar, how much amount of rudder steering do you do as opposed to steering with the body and leaning the boat?
No, I use absolutely rudder. The only time I'm leaning is basically to do a bottom turn or top turn. The rudder, these rudders are so efficient, you just touch them a little bit, because understand your rudder is like a brake, so you don't want to use too much rudder, and you don't want to use body. You have got to be paddling like you're in a flat. For me, when I'm paddling like this, it's like me paddling in a lake. That's what I feel. I don't let my body work around. I want to make my technique as perfect as possible, and I just touch the rudder with my toes. I actually de-loft my rudder so it doesn't even touch. So the bigger the swell, the more I de-loft my rudder. So, because if you touch the rudder when you're going 20, 30 kilometers an hour, it slows you down. That slows you down. But moving your body and everything like that, keep it perfect to have the perfect technique to catch run. Because there's a lot of skill. Even though it looks rough like that, you've got to be thinking that you're in a swimming pool flat when you in these runs. See that little pipe coming out there. So yeah, she's got about 1.5 to 2 kilometers. Knowing exactly, you see the runs. She mustn't get too close, because it's the only way she can lose this race. It's by messing it up coming in. So I'd rather be conservative, go around wide, line up with that Euro steel banner, and come straight in. I wouldn't take a chance, because she's got the lead. Only way she can lose it is by hitting the rocks and having a problem coming in. But she looks like she's powering. She stopped looking back, so that does make a big difference, because that means that she's confident. And there she does exactly the commentator's curse. She looks back.
But she is looking incredibly smooth in her paddling. She's tight in the shoulders, but I think that she was like that right from the start, so it's obviously just her style. Normally you see slightly more relaxed in the shoulders, but she has got quite a high shoulders.
Yeah, you see that wave there. You see that was not. She's a little bit close, because if a rock is there and that wave comes, that's her race. You know, you see how close it was. That's not clear. It's very close. So she's closing in on the finishing line, but you don't want to make that mistake, because there are little pockets of rocks around here, and you don't want to be caught in that situation. You can see when you see this kind of bumpy stuff, you know there's rocks around. So I'd rather err on the side of being a bit wider, but she's wide enough. But I mean, the only way she can lose this race is by one of those little rays popping up and putting on the beach too soon. Now we see this is the little clear area just before we're going to see the clubhouse. The Westbrook Beach Clubhouse is a lovely life-saving club there. We should be able to see it on the right-hand side. Go pan across. It's getting very close. My prediction's not too bad in the time. I think I'm going to get it nearly spot on. The men should be really, really good behind as well. They're going to be right there. They're going to just not catch them.
There's a look at that
As
men's field.
I predicted, the way he handled this race, he's the people wrote him off, and I didn't write him off at all. When I see a downwind paddler, and this guy is a machine downwind paddler because of the low cadence. Guys, just learn. You've got to learn from the people that are the best. And that's what I told you. Low cadence, and look at how, and he's putting his paddles down, and he's got this race. You watch what he's going to do in these last few kilometers. He's probably already overtaken Daniela, I think. And I thought 1:45, so they're a little bit slower. So it's not that great, but you can see on the inside there, it's a great field here. You can see Gordon there, but you can see he's done all the things that you're supposed to do. He's kept his opposition on the left-hand side. You can see them there, and he's going, and he's putting his paddles down. That's still, you've got to save every bit of energy till the last minute, and that's the secret of this game. Because if somebody comes up to you and you've been putting your paddles down all the time, you're gonna beat them. And he's showing us good technique. You know, he leans a bit forward, that doesn't matter, but he keeps it stable. He doesn't move forward, no, just Terry, doesn't go move back. He keeps it all together as if he's paddling on flat water. And he's resting. You can see he's resting and everything. So he's sponsored by Race One and Sean Partner. He's an accountant, very good friend of mine. Taught him a few things when he was young, and it took him 10 years before he could break the 3-minute kilometer. Can you believe that? And he always was so bummed that I did it all the time. But these things happen in life when you're young. But there you see again, resting. He's really is an epitome of a good downwind paddler. And the same goes for the Hanks and the Clints and the Hermans. Slower cadence will always win in the end. And it's proved, and especially in the Molokai where you're doing it for 52 kilometers, you've got to have a slow cadence and you've got to rest. And you can see how he's doing it, and he's looking very comfortable. I can't see anybody catching him. Look at him, he's still going in the runs. That's it. This is the joy of paddling.
And even with the slow cadence, Oscar, you can see the power when he switches on the power. He doesn't increase his stroke rate by any marked amount, but you can see the blades going in lower.
Yeah,
so you can see it flexing, you can see the strength, but without changing the rate of the stroke, which is incredible to see and to witness it in such wonderful footage here. He really is showing as a master class.
You see, again, from the Cape Town, from the smaller chop, they tend to, and it's a Darwin and Pete, they had much higher cadence than the Durban boys. Durban boys always lower cadence for big waves, and you can see now we should be able to see the finishing line 2:14. Come on, Kira, I said you should do 2:15, so she should be going a bit faster.
She's not listening to you, Oscar. Come on, what's going on?
No, but at least she's gone out a little bit now. You see, there's a little run, but she doesn't put a paddle down. She's got youth on her side. You can see. You should be able to see the finish on her right hand side. Those little houses leading to the parking spot, and we've got to thank obviously the Westbrook community for allowing us to use that whole big parking spot for 550 paddlers. Magnificent, 34 nations. This epitomizes what surf ski paddling is about. This is the ultimate race that's been covered magnificently by all the people on the water, the drone footage, and all the people in London. You don't understand what it takes for us to give you these live pictures. And Dave, all the way in Canada, he's in the middle of the, oh my gosh, he's early in the morning for him. Very early in the morning for him. But we're watching something happening very special.
And it's special at a whole bunch of different levels, Oscar, because it completes a full circle. So much of surf ski started in Durban. The Pirates and Tlonga Pirates was the first official race of its kind in the world. And it's got to the point now where the world converges on Durban this year to crown its world champions. And it really does complete a full circle. It started with a couple of really brave pioneer lifesavers making their own craft and learning the hard way. And they germinated the sport. They started it.
Yeah, I mean, and it started, as I say, in Durban, and then John Woods in East London, and then a few guys in Cape Town, but it all started here in Durban, where, as I say, then the Scott Brighton took over. So it's fantastic to have it back here, the full circle, and it looks like Kira's going to be comfortably in the lead. I don't see Daniela behind, and here's the first bit of rocks of Westbrook. I can see those rocks, and she should be turning left in about 2 minutes, and to win her first senior title very comfortably, and done it fantastically well. She's a Carbonology sponsored paddler. Another boat made in Port Elizabeth. Most of the boats in this race are made in South Africa, which is fantastic as well. So they used to be made in, the first mass-produced surf skis were made in Pinetown by a guy called Gordon Rowe. Happened to be Chilupski at the time, and then it moved to Keith Fenn and Carbonology. So those are the big manufacturers now, Fenn and Carbonology, and here's Kira on a Carbonology made in South Africa, winning in South Africa, I think. And she's powering away. You can see youth. She doesn't put her paddles down like Corey.
Cheeky enough to look over her shoulder to
It's
see if anybody is bearing in on her.
Not that hard, but it's not bad.
I think she's done enough for on the water now. As Oscar was saying, it's hers to lose. There's the car park. You're starting to see the car, so she's seen that. Her heart is now racing. She now knows as well. She's thinking to herself, don't mess this up, don't mess this up, whatever you do. She'll start choosing her line. She'll be watching the white water to see where it's breaking, just to get her position. From where she is now, she needs to know exactly where she wants her nose to go.
Yeah,
and this is here's a shot from the beach. The beach can see her. She is now in sight of the finishers. On all those spectators for the 500 paddlers, they are going to be, just their hearts in their
still very
mouths.
close. She's only 150 meters in front of Daniela, and you see, so this is where, if you're coming second, you can see Daniela on the right hand side.
Yes.
So this is where, if you're coming second, it's a different story. You see that little breaking right? You want to try and go in now. You can see there. Look, it's very close. It's about 100, maybe 100 meters. That's it. So it's a fantastic. See that I'd be if I'm coming second, I'm going to take the weirdest line in to try and catch. Look at that. Look at how
the tiger line
that is. There's Kira. She can see the finish. She's doing the right thing. She's not going to do the tiger line. She's going to come in where that boat that you can see there, and come straight into those Europoint flags. But I think they have to go around a buoy.
There is a buoy there, yep,
Okay,
the boat's there, so they're going to go around that finish. You can't take the tiger line, unfortunately.
You can't take the tiger line, but which is lining her up perfectly.
So actually to her advantage to get there first, because now she can go. So no one else can sneak her, yeah.
And she cannot mess this up.
Yeah.
She's
but it's not over until the feet are on the sand, Oscar.
Yeah.
There's always something can happen.
Exactly. But the big thing about her, you can see Danielle's 150 meters behind, so she doesn't have to catch a wave. Danielle has to catch a wave to win this. So it's great to see how close this is. She's already on a run. And here, you don't want to bury your nose and break your nose right at the end. So you ride on the top of the wave all the time. And just before the beach, you put your legs out and you jump out. You take no risks here. No risks. This is fantastic. It's a very close race. Look at that. In one shot, they are the cream of South African women surf ski paddlers, or should we call them canoe
world surf ski paddlers.
And look at that. She's got the run. This is like a normal life-saving finish. Yeah.
World surf ski paddlers. Got a South Africa and New Zealand.
Great
sporting tradition of competition between South Africa and New Zealand, and two different mindsets. You got the person in the front really worrying about everything that can go wrong, and you got the person behind hoping that everything can go wrong, and just going as fast as they can to capitalize on any mistake that might happen up front.
Now you can see now there's Danielle's got a run. She's got to push this. She's got to get, I mean, Kira's got to get this run, which she has. And now she just doesn't want to make a mistake in the shore break. And the biggest mistake people make in the shore break is they spin out. So she's got to get this little run, because Danielle is also not giving up. She's not giving up. This is a great fight. And there's a wave. You would decide, do I go down it or do I wait for the next one? Let's see what she does.
Standing up behind. She's
Oh my gosh, that's a big
hopefully
wave.
she'll let that one go through.
Yeah, she did the right thing, and then she's going to turn left and now she's going to go hard. And Daniela's got to really hope there's a big wave coming.
She must have had her heart now. Now she's got to go. Now she's in that dead zone.
She should have got
Yeah.
much harder sooner. She sees it. This is inexperience. She should have been right behind the.
Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one.
She's got
But
time.
she's still.
She's got.
Yeah, but this is not over.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
This is nervous. This is going to build up. Well done. Now you must need some speed. Need some speed.
She's spun out.
Legs over. Legs over. Well done.
Legs over. Yeah,
Yep.
she's done it.
That's all right.
Yeah.
She's got time.
She's going to
You see, but
get caught in the shore break.
Yeah, so Danielle, look at
She's
her on the
home.
back. What a tight grab.
She's home.
Kira can't get. Watch this. This shore break is mean. She's home and dry. She's
What
done it.
an emotional
That's an
moment.
incredible effort. As we said, the person at the back catching the run. Well done.
Fantastic.
And that's thank you, Pete. That's
Kira,
the orchestra.
that is for
That's the
Pete.
acknowledgement for Pete.
Points to Orca hat.
Magical
What a
scene.
wonderful
What a
champion.
wonderful
Congratulations.
finish. And look at how spectacular close this is.
Daniela Richards.
And 2:23. Okay, I said that'd be a little bit faster. Fantastic.
Daniela from New Zealand taking the silver medal. Incredible paddling from her too on foreign shores.
You can see they've been working hard. It's been a hard race. This is not an easy race, guys. 2 hours, 23 minutes. And fantastic. South Africa gets their first medal of the day. And for many more to come.
Right, we've got your next big white.
Big hugs for Kira Bester and Danielle Richards. Congratulations from Kim Popel, President of Paddle Sport SA. So that wraps up the first two places, and look at that. That's a massive moment at so many levels.
There's also 323 names up for grabs, as well as your
One place left on the podium. Who's going to take that bronze medal? The
fantastic.
last time we looked at it, it was Georgia Singer who was in that place. Let's see if she can hang on to that. Huge emotion welling on the finish line now that the race has been completed.
And I think that
this sport means a lot to many people.
And I think we're going to see that the next person in probably is a man, which I said, thought they'd break 2 hours, but they're not going to break 2 hours. But I think the next person in will be probably, if it was correct, should be Corey Hill, who's coming in at a nice angle. And again, you can see the men's is really tight as well. So we're going to see some carnage in the surf, even though it's pretty small. Look at that finish.
Wonderful drone shot at the
around
finish.
the buoy and then straight in.
Okay, we have your next boat grounding.
That's fantastic to see how well it's done.
5 or 6 seconds.
I would have liked to be out there, but what can we do? Well done, Kira. Still got all the accolades and well deserved. I mean, that was a really hard fought race. So close between the two of them. I mean, 150 meters, probably 30 seconds in it. That's fantastic. That's good to see in women's racing. The tighter it is, the better it is, the better the standard gets.
Getting an interview there from SABC. Nice to see that the national broadcaster is down on the beach capturing this as well.
Sure.
There's one other boat that's just rounded the turning buoy as well.
This is hearting up. I thought that Corey would take over. Yeah, so Corey is really powering. That's our leader. Yeah. And look at the cadence, guys. I keep on telling people, low cadence is power.
If that is Georgia in third place, she's got a good person to follow.
Good person to follow. You can see Corey's putting down the hammer. You see, you'll see he will not wait. He will not wait for waves. He will not do. He has to go because he knows there's some really top guys coming behind him, and he's showing his class again. And I love seeing this. He's given a lot to the sport. He's done well. He's won so many doctors. I think he's 3 or 4 doctors, and he's really powering hard. And it's Georgia Singer coming behind.
Georgia, I assume that's
Michelle.
Georgia in the third, so she's going to take her. She can afford to be cautious. She's got, looks like she's got a lot of space.
There he goes.
So
there he
that's
goes.
ahead.
There he goes. Corey.
So it wasn't Georgia early because he's still catching up to that lady
Yeah,
in front, so that must be Georgia
he's come
there.
through the field, 2:03. Not a bad time to Westbrook. My fastest is about a 1:42, so this is obviously the wind a little bit less. But Corey is showing, and everybody must just look at the low cadence. I know when I'm teaching people, I try and tell them I want 3 strokes and catch a wave, and that's what Corey's doing all the time. And he braces on the left and on the right-hand side. And this is a magnificent paddle. He's done it exactly as you're supposed to do it. Hang back, keep all your opposition on the left-hand side, and then you've got it. I mean, you can see the next men. You can see how close they're coming.
And it looks like Georgia Singer's or 4th.
So there were a lot of ladies ahead of him. We thought that he was only catching the third, but there are a lot of ladies ahead.
It is quite difficult when other people go in front. You don't know whether they're girls or the men. You know, it's quite difficult. I've had that.
Is that Rosie? She was on one of those boats. Was she on one? I'm not too sure.
British lady doing fantastic. I think
Rosie
she's 4th
Edwards.
place.
That's going to be a tricky get out the boat.
Rosie Edwards it is indeed.
The power of that surf.
And then
yes, from the UK, United Kingdom and Ireland. Well done.
And there's Corey. You see, Corey didn't wait for any waves. He's coming in straight in.
He charged straight in.
He's powering, and he'll get off his boat now to claim
Corey
another
Hill, world champion in Tahiti
Look how good that
2015.
is. Look how
Did it
Corey
again in
comes
Hong
in.
Kong in 2017.
Powers up.
Did it in Perth in 2023. And for the 4th time, he's going to be the world champion. And he's done it in Durban in 2025. Stopping to chat to the commentator as he gets to the beach finish. Claims it on the line. The cream has come to the top in magnificent downwind conditions
He's
here
a
in
good
Durban.
man.
Corey
He's a
Hill,
great man.
popular champion.
Lovely guy, and I hope you can all learn from this is 2nd place.
That must be
the
second.
Pierre
young French
Viella.
guy.
Pierre
Yes,
Viella,
that
the
is second
Frenchman,
place
gets
to, was that
second.
Philippe there?
Philippe came 2nd.
Pierre, sorry, Pierre. Frenchman
Pierre
coming in
Viella.
2nd.
Look at that, eh?
Who else is on the line? That must be some of the other boys coming in there.
And 3rd, as I predicted, we should be there. He's not doing a very good job getting in, but that's Bernardo Pereira, also just out of under 23, I think. He's still under
Chasing
23,
his
in fact.
boat.
And you can see he's losing places. He's got to get his boat.
Oh, and there's somebody else.
He's coming in 3rd.
Short
Bernardo
break is
Pereira.
not being kind.
I predicted it, and he is there. No, the shore break's not kind. These guys are not used. 3rd, and I think he's the first under 23.
There might have been another 2 boats that came in just behind Pierre. I don't know if they're ladies or men's, but there
No,
are
those are
some.
ladies
No,
and men.
there they go.
That's Pierre. That's Bernardo 3rd.
Here we go, Pierre and Bernardo 3rd.
Yeah, so I
Another
predicted
2
that he wasn't
sneaking
on the
through
lead
now.
boat, so I said, no, he's spent a bit of time with me. He's got a few hours teaching him. I don't know who that's finishing there now. And here's some good sets, so you'll see you guys. So those 3 were clear leaders, so that Pierre also ran a really good race. He went and out there, put the pressure on the guys. Corey didn't take him up. Bernardo was up there with him. They didn't push it too hard, and they saved themselves for the end, and that's what counts here. And here comes in 4th place. It looks like somebody that looks like Uli Hart. No, that looks like Nick Notton's
I think
technique.
it might be did I see a ponytail when
Can't
they
see.
turned the head?
No, it says, let's see who that is coming 4th. Must be a bit upsetting. First one not. Let's see
That's
who-
Uli Hart.
Right.
That's
Is
Uli
that-
Hart.
is it Rice? What is it? Uli Hart.
Uli
Uli
Hart.
Hart. He
There
did
we
a
go.
very good job. 4th place, our first South African. And can you imagine this sport that wasn't in all these sports when I started the sport those years. We've got 3 different nations coming first, second, and third. Australia obviously was always there, but no Germans and no French, and they're here. And they're here to stay, and this is what the sport's about. It's growing worldwide. And here we got another guy coming in here. That looks like Oscar Jones, another Australian coming 5th. So the South Africans have taken a bit of strain today. I think made a few. Okay, banana.
Oscar Jones crosses the line.
Can't be finished. Can't be finished. That was watching. That's Oscar Jones. Let's see this. This looks like. Let's see how he gets out of the water. Darvin Markey coming 5th. Fantastic. That's looking like he's coming in 5th. He had a good line as well. Did you notice? He was out and surfed in. I think he had 5th. That's very good. Or 5th or 6th. Fantastic paddle by him. Also, I think in 45 or 46. So shows you age is just a number.
So official results: Corey Hill, Bernardo Pereira, Nicky Naughton, Gordon
fighting
Harbrecht.
for this top 10 positioning. Okay, so I don't know. We must have missed some people coming in, but
Yeah, there was a flood of people coming in, and Nicky Naughton was one of the bunch that snuck across. Oh, huge crunching shore break. Saskia Hockley getting taken down in the shore break. All's well that ends well.
Saskia Hockley. Look at there's going to be a lot of carnage today, I'm afraid. And yeah, they're running up. This is my worst part of any ski race is running up the beach with my ski. And there's Jasper Mokke getting beaten by his older brother. Shows you, eh? That's going to be, oh, look at this. There's going to be a bit of carnage, yeah. Everybody's swimming all over the place. That little shore break.
Boats look fine. Hopefully they can get going.
Yeah, they'll get out. Here we go. Let's take it more easy. Wait for the wave and go behind it. Because there's no use breaking a boat around the last bit. There we go. Going out. Great drone footage. Nice to see all this footage. It's been fantastic. We're going to take you through now. The age group races are going to start coming in. Here's somebody coming in at high speed and somebody taking it cautiously. So there's going to be a lot of that running up the beach, which I hate, by the way.
Just dropping neatly off the back of that wave. Elegantly done. That shore break is going to be brutal if you get caught in it.
That's the right way. Both of those boats did it fantastically.
I've been sent through some results for the ladies. I hope these are official because the results I've been sent. We've got Kira Bester in 1st, Daniela Richards in 2nd, Rosie Edwards in 3rd, Georgie Singer in 4th, Jade Wilson in 5th, Michelle Jade Wilson, and then Michelle Byrne. So well done. Some really classy youngsters coming through there. To beat Michelle Byrne on this course takes some doing, and she's had to hand over that mantle from always our leading top performer in the past, world champion before, and now these young girls coming in and beating her in her home turf. So congratulations to all the ladies. Some incredible paddling.
This is good. This looks like Hank coming in. I think I see this technique.
It is Hank McGregor.
Yes, if I'm right. There he is, Hank. He didn't have his best rate. Yeah, exactly. So no wave deflector and went too far in. So these things happen in life. I hate to tell you, you don't win every single race you enter.
Zooming back to those women's results, Judith Vergas is also in that mix somewhere. I thought she had made a top 5, so we look forward to having a look at that top 10 and seeing where she slotted in exactly. But there's confirmation of your podium.
Came 2nd and Nicholas came
Corey
3rd.
Hill, Bernardo Pereira, and Nicky Naughton in 3rd, sneaking across in that absolute cavalry charge going for the Eurosea banner finish line.
And Corey was comfortably nearly a minute ahead, so he had
Gordon
a
Hobrecht was the
cushion.
fourth.
And again, very proud. A small nation like Bernard Pereira comes from a little island in Madeira in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And I never forget the first time I met him. He sat and listened and listened and listened at Kira Birch. Look how close that was. Only 16 seconds separate them, and look at that, only another 16 seconds to Rosie. So we didn't quite get how close it is, and that's fantastic to see such close racing in the ladies division, and it just shows you this is going to make more girls singing.
Very good racing. Dave, you were quite right. Judith Veras from Spain did come in. She came through. Yeah, you'll see her there. She's in 5th place, I think.
Fifth place, correct.
10.
Good.
Okay, so there's a bit of confusion there. Look at Bernard Pereira from the and Uli Hart, Joshua Fenn, Oscar Jones, Paran, I don't know, Alexander Paran, Hector Hino, I know him very well, and Jasper Mocky. So
and Oscar Hector Hino having
Look
had
how
a
close
huge
that
day
was
in the
for
S2
second
mixed
and
doubles race
third
as well. That's a
and
great
fourth.
result.
That is a great. You see what the youth does, and he's actually living in Tahiti, getting ready for the World Championships in Tahiti again. So he's been sent there by the French ICF to grow and make sure everything's ready. But that's a fantastic result, and it's fantastic. 4 different countries in the top 4 paddlers. Fantastic to see, and proud of what Durban has achieved, and I think we should be proud of the broadcast. I think it was one of the best I've ever seen. It's the easiest one to commentate with fellow commentators, Travis and David. It's been fantastic. And now we're going to see all the rats and mice coming in. They're going to be breaking a few boats, and that's always a lot of fun. And we'll try and spot some names there that we recognize. My father, he said he'll probably do about 3 hours at 88. If he just finishes it, it'll be quite good. So he's out to. Oh, fantastic. Look at Rosie Edwards and Georgia Singer. Judith from Spain did well. Jade Wilson, Michelle Byrne, Saskia Hockley from Durban, Nikki Burkett, she did very well. And Delarue, Thais Delarue, she must be
She did well. I think she's French. She did well in the race yesterday. She was paddling behind Hector, I think, yesterday.
Okay.
And Saskia also paddled yesterday. So you can see
those guys that paddled yesterday, take my head off to them. That was tough. And today wasn't easy. They weren't putting the paddles down that much.
But again, what we're seeing here is a representation of all the different nations. In the past, you would have maybe seen, obviously expecting to see South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. But now Rosie Edwards from the UK, we've got Judith Vegas from Spain, we've got the different athletes, French athletes coming through. Just how the sport has grown, it really, really is incredible how it's moving.
Yeah, and again, it's just by being out there, going to all these races and promoting it. You have to do it. You've got to bring the people, the smaller nations. Got to bring top guys to the smaller nations, and they realize it's such a good sport, And remember, these are the top of the end. People that really make up the whole field.
Well, guys, it's going to be a very entertaining hour as the rest of the field comes into the finisher.
People see this.
This is what makes up the highlights reel. The one thing we learned from yesterday is that.
And I noticed David Mocker's name wasn't on the top 10.
No, yeah.
Dav was 10th, wasn't he?
Look at this guy. He's going for a big one. Watch, he doesn't know. Look at this. I could see it a mile away. I've got no clue. So understand that most of these people never come in through waves. Only Australia and South Africa really, and New Zealand come through waves. The rest don't.
Andy Burkett crossing the line.
That looks like Andy Burkett finish. How's that? Yep. He's a river paddler. He looks like he made the top 20. There's timing it perfectly. Some of them are just jumping off and swimming in. That's another way of doing it. But there's a big outrip.
Now, jumping off early can result in a very frustrating and long swim in that shore break.
Here we had a start at 9 o'clock this morning. We had a bit of drizzle, perfect conditions, absolutely perfect. It looked very calm here, but we knew once they got out there, you can see the people are very nervous to start. That's always the case for any start. You know, it's one of my traits was just before the start, I would always like relieve myself with all the anxious, pent up energy, and off you go. Yeah, again, you just got to make sure you get in your boat and off, and you'll see that Danielle Richards, she pushed out the pace, got out there quite fast, and set the pace in the beginning. But again, they did the right thing again. They stuck together, riding each other's slips. And here's the big break with Kira and Daniela. They were going out, and then as we hit the runs, those two showed their class. And Georgie Edwards, he was right there with them. You can see as the swell comes from the right-hand side, the wind picks up, you can start catching some runs. It looked like Daniel had this fairly wrapped up. She was going very well. She was ahead of Kira, and I think along the way she came. There's Rosie Edwards. She also stuck there the whole time. In fact, we didn't see enough of her. She was actually within 100 meters of the two leading girls all the time. They're putting their paddles down. It was lovely conditions. Good to see them bracing on the right, both of them bracing on the right. So they set the pace, and somewhere along here, and then Michelle Byrne was up there, but she might have been training for a little bit shorter race. That's why she eventually ended up 9th, I think. So it was very good. And yeah, you can see powering towards Jade Wilson there, the yellow buoy. The people that came from the left-hand side obviously had a bit of advantage. You can see them surfing down into the buoy. Hopefully there's no controversy with the buoy, but yeah, you can see this is getting up to Tongaat. Kira has got the lead, but I didn't realize it was only 16 seconds or 17 seconds. So
definitely a lot closer than we thought.
Yeah, it's a lot closer. But again, that's what filming does. So basically she was 2 waves ahead of, and this could have been the disaster, because you can see on the right hand side Daniela had a better line, and here it was quite tough here because she did the right thing. She got her foot out, which I hope more people do, so they say don't lose your boat. But you can see how you could have spun out, and that could be the end of the race. But she powered through, and now you must just go as hard as you can and get out of your boat. And there's our 2025 World Women's Champs. World, and it's all done for Pete Cole. And then there is
that was Rosie Edwards,
That's
third
Rosie
place.
Edwards finishing on 3rd place.
Lovely to see the smile on her face. She really enjoyed that.
No, she's. I mean, anybody comes here, and this is a coldish day in Durban, realize how fantastic the conditions are in South Africa for surf ski paddling, and you know why it became the home and the founding of the whole surf ski and now ocean racing or canoe ocean racing event.
So we go back and we
okay, here we are. The men started a little bit later than predicted, 20 minutes behind. Again, the nervous energy. It's not a big deal whether you 1 or 2 boat lengths behind you. It doesn't do anything for you. You just got to get in your boat.
Dave, what are your thoughts on the men's race?
Well, it was a magical race because it was so powerful. There were so many potential jokers in the pack. Everybody was screening everybody else, looking over their shoulders as they headed out to that first turn can. Early moves were coming from the people we expected to be in the frame, like Gordon Harbrecht. David Mocker was an early pace setter once they had got out into the deep ocean. Uli Hart from the local contenders was always going to be in the frame there, along with Pierre Vieira, who turned out to be an assertive presence at the front of the race in that NK boat. Moving their way out of Durban past the Moses Mabhida Stadium, one of the icons on paddling on this stretch of coastline here. Corey Hill coming in here with 3 world titles under his belt and a reputation for being a great paddler in conditions just like this. And the consistent swell that was running from the back meant that he was able to climb onto every one of those waves. David Mocker flying the flag for the local, showing all his accumulated experience, and in conditions that really suited those that had put in the hard yards and the years racing in great downwinds conditions, saw the skilled, seasoned paddlers come to the fore in a field that was packed with potential youth upsets. They never really came good, but it was this man, the chill, Corey Hill, the man whose experience on the water and whose ability to blend speed in that ski together with conserving his energy meant that he just kept such a consistent high speed on the boat that he gradually pulled away at the front and was able to come down to the finish and claim what is going to be his 4th world title, and it's going to be a popular one as well. The Australian slicing through the tail end of the women's elite field as he makes that final turn, and then with the surf potentially ready to ruin your day as you come into Westbrook, the Australian just did everything right. The rest of the elite contenders, Gordon Harbrecht, and a big smile as Corey the Chill Hill comes up to the beach to claim his top step of the podium at the Surf Ski World Champs for the 4th time. So Travis, Oscar, it's been an exhilarating and absolutely take your breath away day 2 of the Surf Ski Worlds, the Ocean Racing World Champs. And now I know everybody who's been watching the live stream saying, please, let's watch some of the drama, let's watch some of the action on the shore break, which is what we're going to do right now, because these are still the elite athletes from many of the nations. They're racing for top 20, top 30 positions. We'll see some of the juniors coming in to fill higher positions. But everybody negotiating that back line here at Westbrook, and of course that shore break. You see skis jettisoned in that shore break. Can't even see the paddler that it belongs to. But I think for those that are watching, and this is the entertaining part, the one thing we learned about the double ski racing is that this is what makes the highlights reels for social media. There are people who patiently sit on the shore and just stitch together video edits of the drama like we're seeing play itself out in front of us right now into an absolutely captivating reel of what can go right and what can go wrong in the backline and the shore break. Enjoy.
I think the most important thing when you're watching this is to learn how to do it the correct way. And again, it doesn't take much to practice, because you just go out and back 10 or 20 times like I did when I was a kid. You just don't want to leave your ski. You want to get the ski onto the beach. Once you leave your ski and you try and swim in, there's a back current here. You can see some of the lifesavers helping these guys get in because they can't swim in. The whole thing is to wait behind a little wave and then come in, and don't go and don't go sideways. You wait for the wave to go and you just power. It's one of the. This should be the hardest part of your race. You should be really powering your boat into the shore and then jumping off as fast as possible. See, this guy, he dropped his boat early and had to rescue his boat. So what you want to always do is go directly behind that broken wave that just fell down. Go hard into the sand, because your rudder is far out. So you won't bend your rudder, and then just jump out and grab the foot strap and run as hard as you can, because you get smacked from the back. Who's that coming in there? We'll see if you recognize a few. Remember, there's a lot of age group prizes here, Dave, and people have come And actually 80% of this field is made out of people that are here to enjoy themselves and to try and win their age groups, become world age group champions. So this guy did a beautiful job coming in, but a bit slow getting his boat. But that's what you got to do. You see, you lose so much time just not picking up your boat fast enough and then getting onto the shore. Guy on the left-hand side, he should be pulling harder than that and jump out fast. I like to jump out so that I'm waist deep water, so I don't have to bend my knees too much. So these guys are still right on the top. Their time, there's no time there, but they are on the 2 hours 30 minutes sprinting up the beach, because every place counts, you know. There's no excuses. Look at the guy in the back.
Oh dear. Oh,
Oscar, did you ever have problems with dead leg? I saw that one paddler got out and suddenly didn't have any. Oh, that one did an absolute pirouette for the crowds. The boat fortunately looks in one hand, and that looks like
Anders Hart.
Is it Anders? Okay.
Yeah, so I've never had a dead leg problem. You should never have that, especially in downwind, because you can always lift your bum off the seat, so because you've got a lot of time to do that, so you should never get dead leg. You must always have that sorted out before you actually do the race. Who's this coming in now? I think that's Henny Russ. The way he's hobbling, it looked like Henny Russ.
Any another incredibly strong bully paddler, as we call them in South Africa. This guy's in a bit of danger here with that swell picking up behind him. He's got lucky.
No, that
person on the left-hand side didn't.
Look at that, he just dumped his paddle, running up, making up some times here. You must line yourself up. You don't want to be running so far. You want to line yourself up close to those banners. Really nice conditions. This is every paddler's organizer's dream, is to have these conditions and a little bit of carnage. It's not boat breaking unless you really mess it up.
One paddler there's been washed up and his boat's still on the back.
Gone, so now he's got to get his boat, you know. Now he's going to just let somebody else get it, so he's losing valuable time. He might have been in the lead for one of his positions, but his boat's not coming back quickly because there's always a backwash at Westbrook. As you can see, that boat going back out to sea.
And that poses a problem for the other guys coming in. Suddenly the boat floating and you're just trying to go as hard as you can to get to the beach, and someone else's boat is ready to be T-boned in front of you. Most of them are doing it well, though. I'm actually quite surprised at how many are getting it right, which is good to see. Surf skills are all being learnt.
Yeah, I mean, this is the learning curve. All these people are going to learn. Can learn no matter what. Look at that guy. He's got to go and get his boat. He's losing minutes and minutes and minutes. And when you race, you actually don't want that to happen. Some guys are running at high speed here. Who's that?
And
Greg Barton. There's Greg Barton finishing. All the way from the USA, Olympic gold medalist coming in on his Epic. Greg and I founded Epic Kayaks many years ago.
Oh, that boat's finally got in, but you don't want to be standing in front of it.
Coming in. So we'll see. I know when my dad comes, he'll be swimming, believe me. He's the worst comer in it after 60 years of paddling. He still can't get it right. So it's something that takes a long time.
You didn't teach him properly, Oscar.
You know, you can't teach very old dogs do tricks. And he's very old. Yeah, they go.
It's starting to get very congested now.
Congested now. This is where you break boats. And they hit the boat. And all the repair guys are having a fun time. There'll be a lot of repairs after this race. Apparently they broke 20 to 30 boats in half yesterday. There you go again. Something from Brazil. It's fantastic to see the people from Brazil. I've been there. I mean, magnificent downwind place and a place of Fort Lazo. Okay.
Guys, can you hear me?
Okay. So yeah, these are the guys they're all still very competitive. And you got a guy, Greg Barton, he's going to try
Look
and
at
win
that.
his age group.
Congrats to that athlete.
Yeah.
Look at that. The
Look
sport
at that.
is
Look at
there
that.
for
One guy,
everyone.
one leg, off
Well
he goes.
done.
He's done
Up he
fantastic
goes.
to see. Anybody can do
Absolutely
it.
incredible.
So the athletes continue to find their way onto the beach here at Westbrook. Back to the winners.
You're in front of the finish camera.
It's just really exciting to be over here and race in South Africa. I haven't had that opportunity in the past, so to come out here on the big stage in front of the home of surf ski, as they say, as well, and perform, it's been massive. I know my wife and mum and dad were back home watching the live stream and getting really excited and nervous. I need your number, please. As far as the game plan goes, it's just all came to fruition today. So from this morning, I wanted to take it out and be comfortable, finish strong, and the current were in our favour, so I'm really ecstatic to sort of try and have everything happen.
Corey Chill-Hill being interviewed by the ground PA announcer. Hopefully we catch Corey with our team on the ground so we can get a more accurate sense of how he's feeling and how his race went. But they skis like matchsticks litter the shore break here at Westbrook as the expected carnage starts to play itself out, and the lifeguards that are on hand to try and minimize the damage and help the paddlers get onto the beach, reunite them with their skis if they do get separated with them, as most of them are apparently, are doing an unbelievable job. So all hands on deck from the local lifesavers here. 10 out of 10 for them. They're doing a great job. But just what a spectacle. At the end of 34 kilometers of adrenaline sapping paddling, you've got to deal with this. Backline is not a problem here at Umhloti in these conditions, but once you get into the shore break, if you don't come up here with speed and intent and run that boat up the beach, it can lead to all sorts of drama. And this is where boats can get broken. You can see paddlers separated from their skis. You come into the back line, you make sure that leash is off so that there's no risk of your being swept up the beach with the ski if you do get separated from it. But there'll be plenty of sport and dramas, and as I mentioned, this is where the highlights reel is going to come from. Another ski pitch poles into the shore break. And a collective sense of relief as, one, we see the ski isn't broken, and two, we see paddler reunited with paddles and ski and able to jog up through the finish arch with that Duracell branding.
There's Linton Hope. That was Linton Hope. He's hoping to win his over 65 age group from South Africa. Finished strongly.
Right. Let's go to let's have another go at Corey Hill.
Now there'll be a lot of South Africans.
You can hear me, right?
We'll reload that attempt.
Right, Corey, you said that second half was really good, was really cooking, and you felt that it was a win. When did you know for certain?
Unfortunately, when we come through the girls like that, you never really know. And as we come through the pack as well, those girls are flying. So sometimes you're finding it hard to even catch them. And as you do, you sort of go, okay, that's not a Hank or a Gordon or a Bernardo or a Pierre sort of thing. So you start to go, my times were good. I felt like I wasn't missing runs out there. So I was assuming I was in the lead. But the same thing happened in Perth a couple of years ago, right? I'm running up the beach. A lot of people are cheering. And you're going, are you cheering for a fifth or are you cheering for a win? So, you know, never really know. But, again, I felt really good out there. I wasn't missing many runs and had sort of the visibility at that halfway mark when we all come together to sort of get the realisation of I'm in this. From there, all you can do is race your hardest and really look in front of you. So, yeah.
And that's what you did. Incredible result, Corey. Any last words for your first World Champs here in South Africa?
Oh, look, a massive thank you to the sponsors, my family back home. I've got Shaw and Partners. Eurosteel this weekend has been fantastic. Vycobi, Ocean Paddler, Fen, Race 1 as well. So, look, it's impossible without this support that I get. So thank you so much to everyone that puts on the events as well. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey.
Corey Chill-Hill reflecting on his 4th world title. in conditions that were just tailor-made for the really seasoned pros when it comes to downwind paddling, and what he produced today was nothing short of a surf ski masterclass. Congratulations, Corey.
Corey really has shown his class. He's been doing it for a long time. I met him first in the very first ICF World Championships in Portugal. I think it was 2013. Yeah, 2012, 2013. So he's been with the sport for a long time, and his training and his persistence, and again, remember this, guys, technique is what makes it you go faster, not just training all day, every day. You know, look after your technique and watch your technique, and you can learn. Look at this carnage coming in here. We haven't seen any broken boats yet, which is quite nice. There might be a few dings, but they're all coming in.
There was certainly a big shore break wave crashing through there. And you can see it's the steepness of the beach that makes a difference to the shore break. You can see when the water washes back, and that's washing into the ocean, and then the power of the swells are coming up and they meet together, which makes these waves that much stronger. And you've got to get your nose behind that swell if you can on that coming into the shore break. You don't want to catch it like this guy's doing. Yeah, he bailed off. That was the right thing to do, because that would have broken his boat.
If he can't stand, then he's going to get washed out again. Look.
Yeah, he's going to lose places. You've worked so hard to catch a guy in front of you, and then they can just drift past you as you flounder in the deep water. Here he is. He's finally going to make contact with his boat again. And he's lucky he's being helped. A bit contentious.
Oscar, I guess it's all about conserving the energy to make sure that you've got enough to get up and swing another day. And I guess that kind of wraps up where you are in your life. I've just got to say from the commentary team, thank you for making the effort to get back to us. We know just a few short hours ago you were sitting in hospital kit in Germany, but you got back up onto your feet, just like we're expecting paddlers to get back up onto their feet where they are on the beach. As much as we respect what they're doing, what you're doing inspires all of us. And we're super grateful that you were able to get here today. And just for those of us that sometimes struggle to get up in the morning and get going, you inspire us to just keep on swinging. So, great to have you here. Thank you.
Him and paddling. He is the greatest. He's the Muhammad Ali of paddling. He calls it, but he backs it up with results. Amazing. Oscar, thank you so much. It's been an incredible privilege to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I really want to thank everybody that made this so successful. And again, my friend Greg, who's been trying for a long time to actually get it done properly and professionally, and he's showed his class with his whole team. And as I say, it's a big team, and we need all of us to make it different for everybody. And when I got those 2 liters of platelets on Wednesday that I could fly to from my German hospital to fly back here, that was my sole thing. I committed to it, and I think that's what you've got to do in life. You never know. Maybe you just got to think about this. This could be my last ever broadcast. You never know. I just didn't get a good prognosis, but I'm going to keep fighting for everyone else that's been fighting out there, and that's my sort of calling in life. I want to still keep on helping people as long as I can, and this has been something to top it off. And I thank everybody, all the supporters, paddler supporters, magnificent around the world, and let's keep growing the sport together.
Absolutely, Oscar. You couldn't have said it better. You've got every single one of those paddlers behind you with what you're going through, and we can only extend our very best wishes, and we want to see you at more of these, so keep fighting. Thanks so much.
So everybody from the whole team that's been
thank you, Dave. You're going to feel final words?
In a position of commentary from Travis, from Oscar, from myself, from Greg and the team, to the unsung heroes who've been on the boats and flying the drones, from the team that's patched this all together and made sure that we've had the footage and to be able to bring you what I think is a level of coverage that has matched what we set out to do. Every year we'll try and do it better and better. But it's been a spectacle. It's been a privilege to have everybody in Durban, the home of where the sport of surf ski first began all those years ago. It's completed a circle, which has ended in this massive turnout in 34 nations. And as we watch the spectacle at the finish here at Westbrook, it brings down the curtain on the Surf Ski World Champs of 2025. Congratulations to the champions. Well done to everyone who finished, to everybody that watched. Thank you for your support.